the field. That's why right now, GS Construction is looking to hire experienced top men, pipe layers, and operators who can step in and hit the ground running. With a people-first mentality, career growth, and comprehensive benefits, why would you want to work anywhere else? To apply, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Booster Juice is going crazy for hazelnuts.
No, not crazy. Nuts.
Booster Juice is going bananas for hazelnuts.
I mean, there are bananas in smoothies, but that's not the point.
Banana juice is booster for hazelnuts.
What? Just stop.
Booster Juice is going nuts for hazelnut. Introducing the Nutty Monkey Smoothie, Holy Hazelnut Acai Bowl, and Nutty Booster Ball, all made with rich, creamy hazelnut spread. Try them today, only at Booster Juice. Canadian born, blending since 1999.
Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. Up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of select tires, and $50 off $150 service. We're basically the BLT of savings until April 25th. Restrictions apply.
Go to Happy Spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky your absolute best. There's only one name you
Ported to the corner. McDavid on the boot shot. Still 45 seconds on the man. McDavid gets around the game.
everyday styles.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, healing doesn't have to feel heavy, because in our SwimX aquatic therapy pools, you literally float your way to recovery. Whether you're dealing with arthritis, back pain, joint injuries, post-surgical rehab, chronic pain, balance issues, mobility challenges, or just feeling a little creaky, warm water and gentle resistance have your back. Your knees.
Shabazz Scott for the lead. Nothing but net for the hometown kid. Akron up by 3.
LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth. Fast, easy, and totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks.
Lost it, parks the time.
You've got your value.
Oh, it's a three-peat. The dynasty for the Zips as Shabazz Scott sends Akron.
Guess what it's worth. Let Go Auto
5-2.
show you the money.
Hey, the Home and Garden Show returns to the Edmonton Expo Center March 26th through 29th. Know who's going to be there? Metal processing. Those spring projects for your home, garage, and garden? Why go with wood when metal lasts forever? Plus, they'll be giving out free samples.
Tastes metally.
Yeah, on second thought, maybe not. Your local convenience stores for metalsupermarkets.com.
The Jason Gregor Show.
McDavid gets around the game. Draisaitl Edmonton. That's his 28th goal in the last 20 against the Browns.
On Sports 1440.
5-2. Shabazz Scott for the lead. Nothing but net for the hometown kid. Akron up by 3. Lyden lost it, Parks to tie. Oh! And Akron, it's a three-peat. The dynasty for the Zips as Shabazz Scott sends Akron dancing.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
And then that was played ahead for McDavid. Backus, Ufko, McDavid
What a magnificent Monday. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show live on, as we said, Twitch, Instagram, wherever you can get it, sports1440.ca. It's always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province at playalberta.ca. Of course, tomorrow you have a Lotto Max $40 million. Good luck at playalberta.ca. I'm Jason Gregor. We got Connor Halley here. Sean Brown's going to join us in a second. We got a busy Monday afternoon for you. Kevin Woodley will be by later on this hour. Todd Marchand, who is the San Jose Sharks Director of Player Development, he will join us in about 5 minutes' time. Stu Ballantyne, President Chief Operating Officer of the Oilers Entertainment Group, will be talking about the World Cup of Hockey as it's coming to Edmonton in February of 2028. So basically just under 2 years from now. There'll only be 3 games in Edmonton, but the 3 biggest ones, the 2 semifinals and the final. So you'll have prelim games in Prague and prelim games in the United States, which is interesting. Brownie, how you doing?
Just drove my wife's car here, and the guy beside me just decided to open his door and ding it, which wasn't
in the parking lot.
In the parking lot, yeah. My wife doesn't normally like me to drive her car to begin with. Never mind bringing it back with no gas. Now a little bit of a ding. So guy gave me the old sorry. Well, thanks. That does something. So
he just said sorry. Didn't
sorry. That well, what else is he gonna say? Yeah. I just was like, oh my god, I'm vibrating right now.
Oh yeah, that is that's a rattle. The old door ding. Buddy, you don't have to park as close. You know, there's lots of space.
There was tons of room between him and I.
Oh really? Oh well, mixing a walk. Yeah. Mixing a walk.
Don't you love that? Just sorry. Well, that helps. You know.
Sorry. Like, are you gonna fix the dent?
Yeah. I didn't even have time to look. I was coming in here.
Oh, so you don't know if it's dented yet. It might just be.
It sounded solid though.
Oh, it sounded solid. All right. Kind of like the Oilers' defensive game. Suddenly, it's coming around. Their back pressure to me. We'll get into all that. To me, what I think has been the most important part of them suddenly figuring out how to limit goals. But we're gonna kick things off today with the gentleman who specialize in shutting down the other team's offensive players, and then also chipping in 60-point guy, multiple times 20-goal scorer. As we get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Ice Sports Entertainment Center, located just south of Edmonton. Great place to watch curling, concerts, hockey. They've got Summit Restaurant inside. Check it out at Silent Ice Center. As we are joined, of course, by former NHLer, former Edmonton Oiler. He is currently the Director of Player Development for the San Jose Sharks. Todd Marchand joins us. Todd, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
I'm doing excellent. Todd, for a guy like yourself, spent a long time in the NHL and, now as Director of Player Development, what do you feel is the most important part of your job?
Communication. Just being able to talk to the players, get out to see them play, to give them feedback on their game. I think that, we're an independent person. We're there just because we want the player to do well. We want him to have success. And we're not biased. Obviously they're our draft pick, but we've got to tell them the truth. And so I think the biggest, and I've been doing this for quite a long time now, and just letting the players know that you're there for them in any situation. And Francois Beauchemin, a guy that, I played with in Anaheim and I'm good friends with, he said that when he was drafted by Montreal, one of the biggest thrills was when, I can't remember the person's name, but the player development person at the time for the Canadians would come see him play. He just got so excited to play in front of that person.
Yeah.
And I never lost that I never lost that feeling of what that meant, because, when I was, got drafted and was going through, we never had player development people. And I think the Edmonton Oilers were one of the first teams to actually have somebody on player development with Mark Lamb back in the day. So I think that it's important that they know that the NHL team is generally, has a vested interest in their development as a player, and to see them after the game is worth every penny.
And it does make a ton of sense, because it's like an internal scout, right? Like, this person's in the organization, and as the Director of Player Development, you want to see the young guys succeed. You want to see them, reach their ultimate goal, and so they're probably looking for feedback. And so when you go to watch a player, obviously it's different for if you're looking for a defenseman, you're looking for a forward. There's probably certain things that you look differently for? Obviously, like work ethic is kind of an obvious one, Todd. But when you're going for a forward, if it's more of a checking guy to a skill guy, like, do you have a real significant difference in a checklist of what you're looking for when you watch them?
Absolutely, and I'm glad that you touched on work ethic, because that's a non-negotiable for us. I've always told every player, you control your work ethic. You can't control how much ice time you get. You can't control the outcome of the game necessarily, but you can control one thing every single time you step on that ice, and that's your work ethic. And I expect that every time I see you. I don't care if you go out and you're -3 in a checking role against the top line, but if you worked hard and you competed and you did everything you could, well, you're going to chalk. Some nights you're not going to have it. And to answer your other question, yes, you do have to. Every player is individualized. Every player has something different that they have to work on, and we try and keep it down to 3 things. We try to focus on 3 things for each player, because you start getting into too many things, and the player can get off focus. It's not his head might not be in the right frame of mind. And when things aren't going well, the first thing we say to them is, go back to your 3 things. Go back to the 3 things that you have identified and we have identified are things that you do well, and you'll get back to that. So if you're a skater, skate. If you're a shooter, shoot. If you're a physical player, be physical, right? All those different things that go into the makeup of you as a player, you have to do it every single night, because that is what is going to get you to the next level.
Hey, Toddy, just good to see you in the game, obviously. What are some of the you talk about the physical side of the game. What are the things mentally that you help with these players? Obviously, sports psychology is a big part of the game now. Is there anything that you do on that side to help your prospects?
So every summer, obviously, we have a development camp, and we have a full-time sports psychologist, and he comes in and does a presentation every time. And you know what? In the 5 years now we've been with San Jose, every presentation I sit and listen, and every time I come away with something different. Sometimes it's about motivation. Sometimes it's about confidence. Sometimes it could be about anything, but his approach to it, because Pete was a professional hockey player as well. So he's comparing apples to apples. He goes, I've sat in your seat at one point. I didn't play at the highest level, but I've sat in your seat at some point. So I think the mental part of the game is even more prevalent today than it ever was before, because like Brody, when we played, I mean, the coach always said, the door's always open. Well, it wasn't always open, right? And there wasn't always somebody to actually sit down and talk to you. Nowadays, players, not necessarily at the NHL, but in the American Hockey League, the assistant coaches, the head coaches, they're talking to their players on a daily basis. They're talking to them almost after every game. We reevaluate what they did right, what they could do better, because you don't want to have them say, well, no one ever said anything to me. No one said I need to do this. So there's no excuse from the coaching staff to the players, or the development staff to the players, that no one ever gave me any advice or informed me that I should be doing this. So I think that with the players today, they want feedback. They want that instant information so that they can process it. And that is a huge difference between players today than 20 years ago.
Do you feel, Toddy, that, with all this information sharing and getting a real idea of what you have as a prospect in your players, does it help Mike Grier maybe at like the trade deadline or throughout the season to be able to maybe move off a prospect and move them just because of certain things they might see that they like or don't like?
No question. The more information you can get about the player, it's the old adage, like what you know now, you don't want someone else to find out before you can do something with that player. And every player is not fitted for that organization. There are so many players that have been with one organization, it's been a disaster, and they go to some other organization and they flourish. It happens all the time. So, it's one of those situations where, and sometimes it doesn't happen, but you have to do what's best for your organization at the time, and the situation that your team is in, right? I mean, we're a team that's still in the process of our rebuild or retool, whatever word you want to use. And we're still looking for players to fill holes on the big club. So again, it's about, when we took over, or when Mike took over and we came on board, it was, okay, what do I have to do so I can get this to a point in 5 years where we're at a point where we're knocking on the door, so that in 7 years, we're, one of those teams in the West that everyone is looking at. So You've got to make tough decisions at certain times of the year, but that's what professional hockey is all about.
Todd Marchand joins us. Todd, in where you're at in your retool or rebuild, your position maybe even more important than in some other organizations because you have a lot of really high-end young players. Like you just look even on the Sharks, guys who are 19 and 20 years of age, and Celebrini and Misa and Will Smith and Chernyshov, and then you go, Colin Graff's not very old, but then there's tons in the minors and Musty, etc. Is it different, you feel, in your role in an organization when you have more high-end guys? And is there more pressure to feel like, I got to make sure that we develop these guys properly?
I don't think that there's more pressure. I think every player's development curve is at a different rate. I think that a lot of times when these players get to the National Hockey League, it kind of almost becomes a little bit of hands off for us as a development staff because you've got 5 coaches, and you don't want to be giving mixed messages to the players. A lot of times almost comes from me or somebody on my staff to the coaches who can relay it to the player. Maybe we see something in the game that maybe that player did when he was in junior or college or whatever. It's a bad habit. And then, this is the way that, we try to tackle it, and maybe it worked and maybe it didn't. Maybe you have another way of doing it. So, but we're more involved with the American Hockey League players and the players that aren't currently with the Sharks organization, which would be the junior kids, the college kids, the European players. We spend more time with them than we do, any of the other players. So, and I'm very lucky. Mike was great with me. He allowed me to pick my staff. I've got Tommy Wingles, who helps with the forwards in North America. I've got Lucas Spiza, who does the defensemen in North America. We got Ryan Miller and Evgeny Nabokov, who take care of the goaltenders. And we've got Nicholas Sundstrom, who works with our players in Europe. And then in San Jose, we've got Joe Thornton, Patty Marlowe, and Mike Ricci. So when you look at a staff like that, you're like, holy cow. I mean, you're looking at 15,000 career NHL games or more with that group. So I always tell the players there's really not many situations we haven't seen before. So ask us, talk to us about it, because we can help you.
Toddy, what maybe talk a little bit about Mike Greer and what he's done. And I think Doug Wade is also there, so there's some familiar faces of some guys that you played with. But it seems to me from the outside looking in, like Mike's done a phenomenal job. If you can maybe talk about that a little bit.
Mike is he's a very intellectual. He's always thinking. He's always, he's not a rash type of person. He thinks things through. That's the way he played the game. He's a very cerebral player. And he's no different as a general manager. He likes to get as much information as possible, not only from himself or his people around him, to try and make the best decision for the San Jose Sharks. And when he took the job, it was a tough job to take because the cupboards were bare. The San Jose Sharks were a team that were, they were going for it every year because they had, Joe Thornton, Patty Marlowe, Eric Carlson. They had all these, Thomas Hertel, Brett Burns. Timo Meyer. Like, they had all these high-end talented players, and they were just trying to plug holes with players to try and get to the finish line. And they got close, but it just never happened. And so when we kind of came on board, it was pretty bare. The cupboards were bare. And, Mike had to make some tough decisions to move some pretty popular players out of San Jose, but he was able to do it. He was able to get assets back. The amateur staff led by Chris Morehouse and Scott Fitzgerald do a fantastic job of drafting. So that helps us in the development process, because when you draft good players and good people, chances are they're going to turn out to be even better players and better people when you work with them. And the process has continued along. So now we're at that second phase where, okay, we've got all these players that have turned pro. Now, which ones are going to take that next step from the American League to the National Hockey League and really become everyday NHL players? And you've seen, obviously, you got Chris Graffer, who's Colin Graff, who's made the team and been on the team all year. Sam Dickinson has made the step this year as opposed to going back to junior on the back end. Michael Misa, who for the first half of the year maybe was just kind of, and then all of a sudden the World Juniors kind of came and went, and it was like he's just taken off in the last 10 games as a player. So we're starting to see a little bit of that light where now it's, kind of continue to add pieces to the puzzle. And, the biggest piece to the puzzle is Macklin Celebrini. He's just an unbelievable generational player. He's got Will Smith to play with him on his, who thinks the game at the same level he does. So it's a really good situation for us moving forward.
Todd Marchand joins us, Director of Player Personnel for the San Jose Sharks. They're in town tomorrow to take on the Oilers. And you mentioned Celebrini, Todd, and he had a good rookie year with 63 points in 70 games, but he's exploded. Like, he's top 3, 4 in scoring in the National Hockey top 5, I guess. He's got 95 points. He's gonna break 100 points, probably gonna get 110, maybe close to 120 points. And as somebody who watches the development of a young player, I'm sure you had high expectations. But at the end of last season, realistically, like, were you guys thinking, okay, like, he's going to explode this quickly?
If I did, I would have put money on it. No. You know what, though? I knew we had someone special. The first, when we drafted him a couple years ago, and the first development camp, after the draft, he came in and the guys went through their first day, and after the day was over, I was just doing some things in the office, and I was getting ready to leave, and I walked through the weight room, and here he was on the bike, and I said, "Is everything okay?" He's like, "Oh yeah." He goes, "I just I want to get a little extra workout in it," and I said, "So we didn't do enough for you?" He goes, "Well, generally at this time of year," he goes, "I'm doing 2 workouts a day. I've got my workout in the morning, and then I've got my workout in the afternoon." And at that point, when he said that, I was like, this guy's on a different level. This kid is on a different level. And you watch him every single day, and the work ethic in practice. And what I said to him about a year ago, and I said, I don't want this to put any more pressure on you. And I said, it's just who you are. I said, you are the leader of this team at 18 years old. I said, and you're going to make mistakes. I said, but you know what? You've got enough good veteran players around you that you can lean on them for advice. I said, don't think that you've got to carry this load on your own. I said, all you need to do is worry about how you play the game and focus on that, because you know what's going to happen? You're going to bring people with you. And he's done that. And for him to, you look at the numbers at Sidney Crosby, and I can't believe we're talking about, Wayne Gretzky, and the numbers that these guys have put up at that age, he's right there with them. And it's just crazy to even think about that. But he is an exceptional player. He's an exceptional person. He is very mature for his age at 19, and we are extremely lucky to have him.
Toddy, maybe give us a little bit of an update on former Oil King Laurent Brossoit. I know that he's been a little bit banged up, but now he's back. Where's he at, and how much of, it had to have been a little bit of a battle for him to get back in the lineup.
Yeah, he got called up. We had an injury up top with the goalies, and he had been playing really well down in with the Barracuda, and he said it was kind of a breath of fresh air coming from Chicago, because he was living in Chicago, playing in Rockford. So he goes, I had to make that drive, an hour and a half drive every day, each way. So now in San Jose, obviously we have both clubs right there in the same city. So it's been nice. He's been able to get his game back. And the other night, obviously we didn't play last night. We didn't play yesterday. We didn't play very good in front of him. So we kind of left him how to drive. But he's been a nice addition for our group. And we hope that he can continue to get his game back.
Todd, when you watch down the stretch, the Sharks, I think the goal was you guys wanted to be playing in meaningful games down the stretch, and here you are. There's 17 games to go. You're 1 point behind Seattle with the game in hand for the final wildcard spot. So no doubt you're playing meaningful games. As the head of director of player development, do you look for different things as the games become more meaningful? And can you, we always hear about the grit and the will factor. Is that something that you found historically is noticeable as the games ratchet up? Like, can you kind of separate the wheat from the chaff from certain players? Or is one time through not a big enough sample size to really get a true assessment of a player in crunch time?
Well, I thought maybe you would have asked us that we're only 5 points back at Edmonton with 3 games in hand.
True that too.
No, you know what though? I think as an organization, we're ahead of where we thought we would be. That being said, we're still not satisfied. We know what this team and what this group can be. Playing meaningful games into the middle of March and into April is the most important thing, because like you said, you get to evaluate your players there's three different types of players in the National Hockey. There's players that are really good in the regular season, but they don't show up in the postseason. There's players that are just average in the regular season, but they're great postseason players. And then you got players that do both. And you want to be able to see which ones of your players are the ones that can produce when and show up when the games count the most. That's what you want, because that's what we're playing for. We're playing to win a Stanley Cup. We're not playing to finish second. So there's no question. And that goes hand in hand with your American League team. I mean, you want your American League team to be in a playoffs. Like last year, the Barracuda were able to get to the second round in the playoffs, which is fantastic for our young players to experience that. You look at all the teams that have done well in the National Hockey League over the last 20 years, and I'll guarantee you look back at their American League and the American League team had success. The ones that have gone, have really had a lot of success over the past 20 years. So it goes hand in hand, and I think that's really important for us to be able to keep watching these players and seeing who raises their game when it counts the most.
So Toddy, you sound happy and you're doing a great job at what you're doing, but is this something that you want to continue doing, or are you looking to maybe get into a different role at some point?
You know what? I get to work with one of my best friends. I don't work. I really say it all the time, and I know Mike. I don't really work for him. I work with him, and that is a breath of fresh air. I do. It's like we get back together, and Gurzy and Waiter and all of us, and it's like we never left. It's like we're back in the locker room. We're telling the same jokes about the same people. And, so it is a breath of fresh air to be able to be in this situation and to be in the situation that our team is. It's an exciting time, and I've always said that I think player development is one of the best jobs, the most rewarding jobs that you can take on when you retire, because you get to see a kid when they get drafted at 18. You're at the draft, you see them at development camp. You go out to see them play in Kamloops or Saskatoon or Boston or wherever they're playing, or in Europe, and then you see them develop over time. And then you see them sign a contract. You see them go through the process of the American League, and then you see them play in the National Hockey League. And they always look, whenever you're around the rink or you're around the team and they see you, they look at you like, I remember when you came to, it's like one of your own kids growing up and having success. And it's such a small part. I mean, I don't ever want to take anything away from the kid, the players' parents or whoever else, the coaches that have helped them along the way. But it's one of those, the gratification of being able to say, I had a little part in their development as a hockey player. And like I said, I've been doing this since 2011. And I see a lot of my players in Anaheim that I work with. They're kind of now they're on the back nine. They're retiring and they've got families and kids. And when you saw them get drafted, they were just these young 18-year-old kids. So it is a very rewarding position. I've enjoyed every single minute that I've been doing it, whether it's with Anaheim or San Jose. And I'm just glad to be working with Mike and the San Jose Sharks.
Because you've been doing it so long, is there one player that maybe sticks out in your mind as being one of your favorites, kind of watching them go through the process?
Not really. To be honest with you, I like to see, I'm always a person that likes to see the later round picks guys make it, because I was a late round pick. I was a 7th round pick. Mike was a 9th round pick. That they had to go through a lot of things, prove a lot of people wrong to get to where they got to. So I think that I'm always pulling for those guys, but I always tell everybody, once you turn, if you're good enough to be able to be offered a contract and sign it, you're with everybody else. You're no different than a first round or a second round. If you're a 5th round pick and you're a better player and you're playing better, guess what? You're going to get the call up. And that's what it is. It's like getting drafted is like step one. Now you go all the way back to the beginning. You got to prove yourself all over again to that team that's why they drafted you in the first place. Then you got to prove that you're worth a contract. Then you sign that contract and say, oh, this is great. Guess what? Starts all over again. Now you got to prove to the staff that you can excel at this level to be able to get to the next level. So it's all these different steps that you have to take as a player and as a person to be able to get to where you ultimately want to get. And it's the greatest league in the world, made up of 750, whatever the number of players that play in the National League every year. And that's why it is the best league.
Todd, always good to catch up with you. Continued success and a huge game tomorrow night. Should be a lot of fun between the Sharks and the Oilers. Appreciate your time.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
There you go. That is Todd Marchand. He is through the Sharks. 5 back. Make no mistake, that's a big game tomorrow night. It is a big game for the Edmonton Oilers. You The Sharks win, and they're 3 points back of the Oilers with 3 games in hand. Right? You lose, Edmonton beats them, and then they put themselves 7 up on the Sharks. So even if they win all their games in hand, they can't catch them. So it's a pretty massive game. The Oilers do take on the Sharks twice in their final 14 games. They also play Vegas twice. They got Anaheim once. So they got like half their games are against teams right around them. Anaheim, Vegas, Seattle, San Jose, LA. And that's what you want. Edmonton has more games in their division than anybody else down the stretch. So we'll come back. We'll discuss that. We got Kevin Woodley and more on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Hi, I'm Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. We're the #1 dealer in the world. Just kidding. If we were, would you care? We're the #1 dealer in Canada. Still kidding. You probably still don't care. Tell you what you will care about, our March Madness sale going on right now. Discounts up to $30,000. And the grand opening of our Autoplex, a massive indoor showroom. No self-proclaimed titles, no iPads, no trips to Vegas or hockey jerseys, just a really good deal. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
At GS Construction, every winter plan becomes a spring project. Every repaired line and every improved system is how we build the next chapter of Edmonton's infrastructure. And we can't do that without the best and the brightest in the field. That's why right now, GS Construction is looking to hire experienced top men, pipe layers, and operators who can step in and hit the ground running. With a people-first mentality, career growth, and comprehensive benefits, why would you want to work anywhere else? To apply, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Booster Juice is going crazy for hazelnuts.
No, not crazy. Nuts.
Booster Juice is going bananas for hazelnuts.
I mean, there are bananas in smoothies, but that's not the point.
Banana juice is booster for hazelnuts.
What? Just stop.
Booster Juice is going nuts for hazelnut. Introducing the Nutty Monkey Smoothie, Holy Hazelnut Acai Bowl, and Nutty Booster Ball, all made with rich, creamy hazelnut spread. Try them today, only at Booster Juice. Canadian born, blending since 1999.
Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. Up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires, and $50 off a $150 service. We're basically the BLT of savings. Until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need, Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, healing doesn't have to feel heavy, because in our SwimX aquatic therapy pools, you literally float your way to recovery. Whether you're dealing with arthritis, back pain, joint injuries, post-surgical rehab, chronic pain, balance issues, mobility challenges, or just feeling a little creaky, warm water and gentle resistance have your back, your knees, and your hips. Trusted by pro sports teams and rehab hospitals, our SwimX pools help you move sooner, hurt less, and recover faster. So take the load off. Let the water do the work. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection? Incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
2:30. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Sean Brown, Connor Hanley, Sports 1440. Kevin Woodley is going to join us in about 11, 12 minutes. The Oilers had a practice today, no Leon Draisaitl. The lines, if you're missing, of course, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. You had McDavid with Savoy and Hyman, Dickinson, Nugent Hopkins, and Roslovic. And basically, you had Szymanski moving up. He'll play between Podkolzin and Kapanen. And then Jones will draw into the lineup with Frederick and Henrique. Defense pairs remain the same because the Oilers only have 6 healthy defensemen. Ty Emberson still not skating with the main group just yet. Connor Ingram was in the starters net. I expect Ingram to start tonight. Start him all week, honestly, if you want to. Right? Like, eventually, Jari will get back in, but Ingram's now your starter, and the Oilers have a fairly you play every second day, sure, but there's no travel now. They play tomorrow, they play Thursday, they play Saturday, then they'll have 2 days off, then they play Tuesday, Thursday next week. And that's where I could see him starting the Vegas game. I know some people are like, what are you doing? It's Vegas. Well, because you play Thursday night in Vegas and then you play Saturday afternoon in Edmonton. It's as close to a back-to-back as you can get without being a back-to-back. And so I wonder if maybe he plays the Ducks. I could see Jari maybe playing one of those games. I don't see if Ingram plays well again tomorrow. You got to beat these teams below you in the standings. Sharks game's a big one. Even the Florida Panthers, you got to win that game. Brownie, I want to ask you about Matt Savoy now has played a few games with Connor McDavid. I actually, had a conversation with Connor, and we'll play it a little bit later on the show. But then I asked him after the fact, just chatting about things I've noticed. And Matt Savoy, the thing I've noticed with him is how many small little deft passes he make right on McDavid's stick while he's in the fly. And boom, the puck is gone the other way. And when you play at the high skill player, they want the puck on their stick. And if you get them on the puck on their stick and you give them time and space, they love you. And, that second goal, yeah, McDavid got the puck up, but then look at Matt Savoy. His speed outskated the Nashville guy, so it becomes a 2-on. Otherwise, it's kind of like a 1-on-1. And, man, I've really liked Matt Savoy because he can play fast, but he thinks while he plays fast.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that he's fast, but he's also a dog on the bone. Like he just works, and those star players or anyone that plays the game likes to work with guys that have that type of tenacity and willingness just to get involved. But yeah, he definitely looks really good. I mean, his confidence with the puck, his poise, his ability just to keep pucks alive. I mean, he's an undersized guy that does not give up. And, you talk about all those little plays, whether it's through the neutral zone, trying to find, the right player at the right time. He has the ability to do that, but he's also, he's making really good plays along the wall. Right. And some of those plays those are the hardest plays. It's no different than a defenseman going back on a puck. Well, for wingers, picking pucks off the boards, having a guy, a defenseman coming down in, they're hard plays to make. Where you're not just chipping it out. Eventually you got to be a player that, chipping out is fine. There's a time and place for it, but you also have to be a player that can make plays under pressure. And he's doing a really good job. And that's one thing that I noticed in his game yesterday was just his confidence with the puck. I mean, obviously, he's oozing with it right now, but there's no rush. There's no panic. And it's nice to see because I think he's, as an organization, talking to Todd Marchand there in player development, I think they've done a great job with him, right? Mm-hmm. Sending him down to the minors, letting him try to figure out his game in the minors, bringing him up. Obviously, he's earned his spot, but he's been up and down the lineup. They didn't really rush him into anything, and he's kind of played on the third line, the fourth line, the second line, and now he's kind of looked like he's really, found his groove, and he looks like a player that can play in the top six with, any type of skilled player.
Well, he's a great example of proper player development.
Yeah.
Right? You bring him in, stay in the minors. I know he played a few games in Edmonton last year, but he was mainly in the minors, and he was on the power play, but he's also on the penalty kill. And that's what, to me, I found kept him in the NHL this year. He led their team in penalty kill minutes. So that allows him to play 13 or 14 minutes on a team that's pretty deep. And now as he gains and I really think a young player benefited massively from that 3-week break, right? Like, you just mentally you're refreshed, physically you're refreshed. I know he played a full year in the A and he was used to travel in the dub, but it's still the NHL. And man, he looks like, well, just look at his point production since coming out of the break. Like, I think he had a little bit more confidence, but he's also refreshed and is made a huge difference. And, people were asking, oh, he's a rookie, what can do in the playoffs? I'm like, it's totally valid. But so here's my comparison. Jake Gensel. So Jake Gensel came out of college, a little bit now. He's a year older than Savoy is now. Came out of college, played a half a year in the American League, and then got called up in January. And not right away, but then found himself on a top line with Sidney Crosby. So to me, that's the most comparable guy I could look at. I'm not saying that Savoy is going to end up being as productive as Jake Gensel, but his trajectory is similar, right? And Savoy was a top 10 pick. Jake Gensel was never a top 10 pick, right? But that is really irrelevant a few years after your draft. But when I look at Jake Gensel, I look and say similar arc because Jake Gensel was drafted in 2013 and, he played 2016 and came up with the Penguins.
I don't know who to compare him to. I know that Savoy's obviously, he's been an elite player since he's played minor hockey. And I think, did he not get special exemption through the WHL? If he didn't, he might have. But anyway, he's been an elite player. But he just, for a player that looks comfortable, he also looks like a player that is uncomfortable too, has something to prove, right? And I think because of the way they've developed him and the situations that he's been in, as far as being on the fourth line, the third line, nothing's been guaranteed to him, right? So he's worked himself into feeling comfortable on the ice in his game, but I really feel like he's playing, with a chip on his shoulder, knowing that nothing is guaranteed, right? For as well as he's playing, because it could change. And, this is a smart kid. He gets to play with the best player in the world. Yeah. He knows that if he can make this work, anyone knows when you get in that position, his career can take off here, right? And he knows that points are going to come if he can stay on one of the top two lines when you're have the chance to play with the two best players. And I'm sure that there's conversations with Coach Knobloch and his star players on who they want to play with. And it just seems to me like these guys love the Podkolzins, love the Savoys that just have that relentless work ethic, keep pucks alive, and then have that skill to give them the puck at the proper time. It's not easy. They make it look easy, but it isn't easy playing with those guys. So I give him a lot of credit for being, a local player, a young player, to play with that confidence and to be able to play with a player like that. And it doesn't seem to be taking away from anything from his game. He's not changing anything about his game, which is a good sign for an Oiler fan and a good sign for him that, this is something that could possibly work long-term.
Yeah, no, I've really liked Matt Savoy's game. I know a lot of people were trying, oh geez, they gave up Ryan McLeod, and that closed the window of the orders. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I think Matt Savoy now, Ryan McLeod was never going to be a top line winger. Right? He was going to be a really good third line center because he was never going to be a second line center in Edmonton when you had Leon Draisaitl. So he would have been a really good third line center. Awesome. Nothing wrong with that. But Matt Savoy has the potential to fill a much larger role.
Yeah.
It's a trade that works out for both teams. I was just
going to say, it's a trade that works out. Savoy, obviously, as he gets older, he's going to get bigger and stronger. That's going to be the true test of him because obviously, Connor McDavid's going to get all the key matchups, all the big defensemen, the big, heavy guys, right? Yeah. So, that's where I look to see on how he can handle them, how he can handle himself in those situations below the low line against the big, heavy defensemen.
Yes. There's going to be times where that's a challenge, but he is very quick, and you mentioned he's relentless. And I actually talked to Connor about some similarities between him and Celebrini. And he said the one thing is just their relentlessness on the puck. They're very good at creating turnovers, right? Celebrini probably a better shot for sure than Matt Savoy, but Savoy can rip the puck.
Oh, yeah.
And I've just been very impressed by his first few games up there on the top line. And this is, I asked Knobloch about it, and he just said, when Leon's healthy, I see no reason to take Matt Savoy off that line. So I don't think you're going to see right away. I think he's going to get a run here on that line. And I think the coach is looking up at that third line of Dickinson, Nugent Hopkins, and Roslovic. And then you got Draisaitl with Podkolzin and Kapanen. You might switch a winger up or down at different times, but it's looking like the Oilers lines now are kind of what you were hoping for and what you want.
Well, I think that's what every coach wants, is to try and find some chemistry, especially as they come down the stretch. That's why it's kind of unfortunate that Draisaitl is kind of banged up here because, depending on how long he moves or how long he's out, it looked like they kind of, when you looked at their lines, they're starting to make sense, right? But now you got Draisaitl that's down right now, but there's an opportunity for other guys to step up. And Savoy's not the only one. Obviously Podkolzin's playing very well, Kapanen, Szymanski. So, it's nice for the coach to kind of sit there and be like, hey, we got guys down, but we got some guys that are coming up and that are stepping up, willing to fill holes. And ultimately, if they want to, be a contender and go on a long run, that's what they're going to need.
Quick break. When we come back, Kevin Woodley will join us. We'll talk goaltending, the Sharks, of course, the Panthers. I know about them very intimately. Tampa Bay, also Connor Ingram as he takes over the starting role in Edmonton on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
With the lead up to the playoffs underway, players are definitely stepping up their game.
And the fans are doing the same. Simple snacks like chips and dip may work at the front half of the season, but now more and more fans are rocking the Wilhauk beef jerky for game time get-togethers.
Just make sure you bring enough for everyone if you want to be invited back for the playoffs.
Make your next hockey game day a Will Hockey game day with Wilhauk beef jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today because you don't win games with salad.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need, Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
You matter. Your mental health matters, and you're braver than you think. Not Alone is an organization focused on creating a space of acceptance and support through tough, meaningful conversation. Use code 1440 for 15% off at notalonecode.com. It's okay to not be okay.
Sleep is for the off-season. What off-season? Sports 1440 is live, loud, and locked 24/7. Oilers, Elks, Riverhawks, Stingers, Oil Kings. We've got your picks. Edmonton's home for sports is Sports 1440.
It's Truck Month at Wolf GMC Buick, and we know trucks. And we have the best deals of the year right now. Some have 0% for 4 years. We have 0% for 6 years. That's on our number one selling GMC Sierra half-ton crew cab, or the Elevation, the AT4, or Denali. Yep, 0% for 72 months. And Costco members get an extra discount on some of our SUVs. Pop in today and drive away smiling. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Don't let equipment failure stop you cold. At AWS Welding in Nisku, our factory-trained service techs are on hand for all welding equipment repairs. We're a fully warranted center for Miller, Lincoln, and ESAB. And we service all makes and models. Proper, regular service extends the life of your gear and keeps it running at peak capacity. Don't wait for a breakdown. Book your service appointment today at 780-979-0470. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
Portions of this hour brought to you by CanTorque. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches. Order today at CanTorque.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Sean Brown, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show. Here with Browning and Connor Halley, as it's time to go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical. 53 years. They become one of the most diversified electrical contractors in the province. They keep expanding, keep growing. And if you're looking for anything electrical and service, if you want solar, they got it all at actionelectrical.net. At Kevin Woodley from InGo Magazine and NHL.com. Joins us once again. Woodley, how you doing?
I'm good. I am neither electric nor do I offer everything. But if we want to talk goaltending, I'm in.
Yes, let's do it. Connor Ingram has been anointed. He's the starter now for the time being, and understandably so. You work with him. And hey, the Oilers' defensive game here has changed a lot. They packed the house a little bit more in the D zone, but I just think the players' overall effort and attention to detail, specifically on backtracking, has been very noticeable in their last few games, started by Connor McDavid. And so that makes it an easier environment for sure. But when you look at Ingram and you remember kind of his best years, how confident are you that he can become a solid starter for the Oilers?
Really confident. Situations change, expectations change. They just changed the expectations on him by naming him the number one, right? Like they've added a little bit of pressure there. Playoffs are a whole nother animal. So there's this stuff between the ears, right, that we can't see. But in terms of his game, I talked about this when they signed him. The upside is, his best time in Arizona before they moved to Utah was, top third of the league or above. Like he's capable of playing at a really high level, especially when you give him structure. And, in fairness, they've given him a lot more structure, or at least a lot more predictable play overall than what they've given to Tristan Jarry. Now, I'm not defending Jarry. Like, listen, he's been bad. His numbers are, I looked it up today, at a full 2.5% below expected, which is, just for those that are like, what the hell does that mean? It means on every 100 shots, he's given up 2.5 goals more than your average NHL goaltender. So that's about 2.5 goals every 3 or 4 games. Not good. 67th out of 72 goalies that have seen 100 shots this year. But as expected, like he's operating way below a base that is at 868, like an 868 expected. And we've talked about this before, Jason. Like once you get into that territory, it's really hard to outperform that bad an environment. And so far, Ingram, in the same window behind the same team, has an 889, which is above league average. So I think as long as you give him a bit of a controlled environment, you get your best out of him. Now, I will say that he's a little more spot to spot. He plays a little more neutral, just sort of stays over his knees. Push, stop, hands above. Like it's a little more of a technical game. And he's got good hands above that base. And so when it gets unpredictable, I think he's in a better position to succeed. Like the one thing that I missed, because I'm not going to revisionist history this. When they made that trade back in December, I looked at the numbers on Jarry, and he was playing really well in Pittsburgh. His numbers were well above expected. The things I missed were a history of strong starts and slow finishes that when you started talking to people in Pittsburgh has been a part of it. And B, I didn't go over the checklist. I didn't go over the trade checklist. And the trade checklist is, has he been traded before? No, that's not a check in the right box. Is he a rhythm goalie? Is he a goalie that moves in and out, back and forth more, that relies a little more on timing rather than technique? Yes. That's a checkbox on the wrong side of, will this guy succeed after a trade, or will it be an easy transition after a trade? Now, the other check mark is, does he have enough time to adjust? And he should have. The injuries hurt, but he should still have had enough time to adjust. It just hasn't happened so far. And so I think when you take a goalie that relied so much on reads, Jason, and you put him behind an unpredictable environment, I don't want to say this was predictable because I sure as hell didn't predict it, but we should have seen a little more of this coming, especially as the Oilers continued to sort of play at a bottom 3 level defensively. Now that it's improved, I think you have a better chance of getting more out of Jarry, although obviously it's going to be in less starts.
Kevin, eventually Jarry's going to work his way out of this. as a goalie coach, what are some ways that you think that maybe they're approaching this? Because, I mean, obviously, this gives them a little bit more time maybe to stay out longer and practice. Is it more of a on-ice thing? Are you pulling up video from when, he was in Pittsburgh when he was playing well? Is it a mental thing? What do you think approaches from a goalie coach's perspective?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And I wish I had, well, I'm not sure he'd answer that call, but, had a chance to talk to Peter about the way they're approaching this. And what makes it more challenging, Sean, is all those things I just talked about how Tristan plays. Like I heard Stephen Valiquette and a lot of the numbers, all the numbers that I cite on here when we're talking about adjusting for shot quality are from his company, ClearSight Analytics, right? And Stephen's also a hell of a goalie coach. And I heard him talking earlier, or was last week, about just how often it looks like Tristan's not square to the puck. And certainly that's in the pre-scout that I did. A tendency, especially on the glove side, to get both shoulders square, to sort of fade off one side a little bit. I think that comes a lot from when you're moving around. And so, Valiquette's like, hey, put pucks down, tell him to stand on that puck like he's square, and then show him whether he's square or not. The problem is, we're in March and the playoffs start in a month. And I don't know, and this is where every goalie coach will differ a little and where they have to figure out the athlete as an individual. Are you reinventing the wheel on a goalie with this many years in the league getting square to the puck? Are you trying to simplify his movements by reducing his flow and having him play a little more 3/4 depth in the crease off rush like they did at the beginning of the season with Skinner? Simplify those reads a little bit, shorten your movement so you're not caught on one end or the other. When I look at film, I see a guy who, on the same play will shuffle once, T-push once, and reverse C-cut once off a lateral. There's inconsistencies in how he approaches the game. And so the technical side of my brain says fix those inconsistencies and you might see less inconsistency in execution. You'll find a way to get him ahead of the play again because he's behind a lot. You'll find a play to give him a chance to be square and set on shots because he's moving a lot. But is that something you fix 3/4 of the way into his, 8th NHL season? If he's played that way throughout, you may be at the mercy of just finding the drills. And this is in conversations with him of, hey, what do you feel like when you're playing your best? What does it look like when you're playing your best? What drills can I give you to help you get that feeling back? And then hopefully with an environment that he can read behind a little more predictably and a little more consistently, you'll start to see those things come together. And that's I can look at his tape like Valiquette did and see all the same things, but being able to spot issues that are putting him behind plays, that are leaving him not set on shots, which creates a lot of the rebound troubles that we've seen. And a lot of his goals are on rebound stuff. You can find technical fixes, but whether that's actually the problem or whether you can fix it in the middle of a season, that's a whole nother ball of wax. Real easy to sit here on my couch and analyze it. Being the guy that actually teaches and instructs on it, that's why they make a whole bunch more money.
Kevin Woodley from Ingo Magazine and NHL.com joins us. Kev, there's a few other teams here as we get down the stretch. The San Jose Sharks are coming to town tomorrow night. And, you've got Askarov, but Nedeljkovic has played pretty well. He's won some big games for them because, and we just had Todd Marchand on the show. Do you kind of got to ride the young guy, Askarov, or do you think you would maybe consider playing Ned a little bit more?
I'm going to be honest here. The San Jose Sharks playoff odds went up when Yaroslav got hurt. They had been playing him and frankly left me scratching his head as to why they kept playing him ahead of Nedeljkovic. The numbers on the season tell the story that Ned's been better from start to finish, although he wasn't, he had stretches at the beginning where it was clearly the other way around. And Askarov deserves credit. At the beginning of the year, he looked really sharp, but that hasn't been there for a while. Since January 1st, Nedeljkovic is plus 2.2%. That's 6th in the National Hockey League over that span. At the same time, Askarov is the opposite, minus 2.2%. That's 58th. You add that up, that's 4.5 goals on every 100 shot difference between the two right now. Wow. So the fact that they continue to roll out Askarov, as much as I understand you're trying to learn and see what you got in this young kid, if you're really trying to make the playoffs, I don't mean to, I shouldn't even say his injury is a blessing. That's not fair at all. Because I do think he's a goalie with still a ton of potential. But for whatever reason, they kept going to him, even though the performances didn't dictate it. They've dictated Alex Nedeljkovic for a while, and now it looks like we're going to see more of it. Like they lost the other night to the Senators, but that was Laurent Brossois' first game in the National Hockey League since, I think, 2024.
Yeah.
So, get Ned back in there. The challenge now is sort of making sure you don't play the wheels off him. The good news is he hasn't played a ton this season. Yes, he struggled a little bit at the beginning of the year, but for a while now, he's been the better goalie, not just the better goalie, but one of the top, like I said, top 10 numbers in the league since January 1st. That feels like a guy who should probably be playing more than the young kid at this point.
The Tampa Bay Lightning, it's kind of odd for them. Buffalo's made up 12 points in 10 games, which is freakish to me. But are you seeing any? Is Vasilevsky getting tired? Are the Bolts just like, you know what? We don't have to go pedal to the metal. We don't have to finish first in our division to go deep in the playoffs. So, seeing anything coming out of the Olympic break that concerns you, considering how many losses they've had piled up here recently?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. It's a little bit environment, and it's a little bit like Vasi's plays just slipped a little bit. It's been so good this season. It's been a real bounce back for him. He's in the Vezina conversation. He warrants that. Looks to me, interestingly enough, like it'll be interesting to see whether we see any slight corrections actually this week as they come through Vancouver, and he probably convenes with, the off-ice goaltending coach from Kelowna that we've talked about a lot here, Adam Francilia. I don't know if I think I've shared this with you guys in the past, but it was actually during Stu's first run to the Cup final. I think it was Kyle Bukauskas who did a piece on Stu starting to work with Adam. Yeah. And that caught the attention of Andrei Vasilevsky, who reached out as a result of it and has worked with him for a couple of years. And I don't talk to Adam specifically about his clients or anything like that, other than knowing that they've worked together. And I've talked to Vasi a little bit about it, not in depth, hoping to this week. But I've seen since the Olympic break a tendency to sort of get a little more upright in his stance, shoulders pulled back, arms stuck out, things that I thought looked a little different heading into the break and were leading to some of his success. Like, don't get me wrong, Andrei Vasilevsky is one of the best in the game, like freak athletically. But he reached out because as he ages, he wants to rely a little less on, the type of saves and movements and extensions of limbs that can, lead to things like a back surgery. Right. And I thought his game changed quite a bit, especially early this year. It's subtle, but if you know what you're looking for, it's sort of how he holds his frame, how he holds his shape and save execution. And I think I've seen that slip a little bit since the Olympic break. So I'll be curious whether there's a correction here, conscious or just a chance to connect with one of the guys who's behind that subtle adjustment.
Kevin, you talked about, goalies going to different goalie coaches when they hear that other goalies are working with different guys. Is that something that you think all goalies should do? Or if you're a goalie and you find a guy that is working for you, you stay with them? Or is it good to get different perspective from different goalie development guys?
I think it depends on where you're at in your career, Sean, right? Like at the end of the day, and one of the guys that I learned from and that I'm quite close to and have learned an absolute, like he got me into goaltending in the first place, hired me to run his magazine. And I just learned a ton editing his words, probably written more on the position than any goalie coach in the history of it, is Ian Clark. And one of the things he always says, and you'll hear me repeat these phrases a lot on these hits, like, tension is the enemy of goaltending. Like that's an Ian Clarkism. If you're tight, if you're tense, you can't play loose. The other one is you have to be your own best goalie coach. Like you have to be as much as we look at other voices and other things to bring new ideas and to help us sort of keep our game on track, you need to learn your own game. And I think what happens for younger goalies, I would encourage them to work with as many different voices as possible. Learn all kinds of different tools in the toolbox, as we say. Yeah. And as you get into more gameplay situations, and this applies right up to the NHL, and a lot of guys will talk about this, you learn which tools to apply at which times. You learn some tools that just don't work for you. Some tools you add, some tools you leave in the toolbox, some you pull out every once in a while. But you should always be looking to add in a game that's always evolving. It's just as you sort of establish and get comfortable and find things that have success, you add those, you make those foundational. And so what you have to be careful of is as you seek out new opinions and voices, you have to be aware of the foundation that makes you great or you believe helps you be at your best. And do any of those new, whether it's terminologies, techniques, do any of them pull you away from that foundation? And that's, you got to be careful too in season. I've talked to a lot of guys over the years. You can go on a run, like play a game on frozen ice with a weird shaped object that can bounce all over the place. We've talked about the rise in broken plays being one of the key factors in scoring goals. Well, those are essentially just bounces. So you have to be careful. You can go through stretches where you'll have like 4 or 5 games in a row where you give up 4 and you can feel like, oh man, it's just not working right now. And you can chase change for the sake of change. And that's a problem. That's where the best goalie coaches go through video. And it's like, hey, we're looking at all these goals and I know you're not feeling great right now, but let's look at them. Would you do anything differently on these ones? And if the answer is, yeah, there's a trend here, we see something that I need to think about changing, then go for it, change it. But if you look at it and it's like, man, I don't know that I'd play that any differently. I just, it hit a leg, or, I trusted my D and he didn't take care of the back door. I'm not blaming him, but I shouldn't change the way I'm playing because it happened 2 or 3 times in a week. Being able to self-analyze through video or with a goalie coach in season is so important. And so, yeah, the position changes so rapidly. You have to look for opportunities to grow and find new things, but sort of building that into your foundation rather than constantly chasing change is a balance that I think is important, whether you're in Pee-wee or your 5th year or 15th year pro.
Kev, great stuff, man. We appreciate it. Getting closer to the playoffs every week. We got basically a month away from the NHL playoffs. The regular season finishes up on April 16th. So should be lots of fun. We got lots to discuss down the stretch. I always appreciate your time. Have a great day.
Yeah, well, here in Vancouver, we're looking forward to watching those playoffs from our coach.
Touche. Well, hey, at least you'll have Evander Kane's 1,000th game. I can't believe that's a storyline. That seems to be the big storyline in Vancouver right now. It's kind of funny. Anyway, have yourself an awesome day.
You too, guys.
There you go. It's Kevin Woodley from InGoal Magazine, NHL.com. Yeah, no, that's a big. Should they play him to make sure he gets his 7 games to get to game 1,000, or healthy scratch him? And I'm kind of like, who are all these great young players they have in Vancouver? Like, I don't know. Hey, but the fact that Evander Kane nearing game 1,000, that's a topic. Like, this will be a very important offseason for Evander Kane, where he might have to look in the mirror to say, hey, I might need to do a little bit more here if I want to get a good contract next year. Because I think he's probably going to have to sign like a show me contract. I don't think he's getting a big contract. I'd be surprised. I get all it takes is one team, but you know what? He'll be 35 in August, and he's got 12 goals, which isn't terrible in 63 games, but I don't think it's the season he's wanted or the season that anybody's wanted in Vancouver.
Well, he's definitely got a skill set that we know and we've seen that every team would want. It's just a question at this age, at this time, does he want to be that player, really? Right? I think Evander Kane, probably the biggest threat to Evander Kane is Evander Kane himself, right? Like, quit worrying about what you're wearing and what you're driving, and maybe focus a little bit on being a player, because there is a player there. So, you know what? Maybe a season like this kind of resets him and kind of, grounds them a little bit as far as getting some understanding of exactly what do you want to be? Do you want to be a player or some type of influencer or whatever he is?
I don't think he's an influencer. I could be wrong. Let's get to the con man in a sports 1440 update, brought to you by Go Auto, where you can shop for over 15,000 vehicles at Go Auto. They have 31 new vehicle brands and 73 locations to choose from. If you're looking, the Honda Pilot for the tall guys like Brownie, lots of space. I'm telling you, it's the most spacious interior I've ever had in an SUV. I love it. Check it out. GoAuto.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
The National Hockey League announcing today that Edmonton, Calgary, and Prague will host the 2028 World Cup of Hockey. The tournament will include 8 nations and be held mid-season in February of 2028. On the ice tonight, Red Wings hosting the Flames, Bruins in Jersey, Rangers up against the Kings, the Mammoths travel to Dallas, and the Avs hosting the Penguins. In the association, you have the Magic taking on the Hawks, Wizards, and Warriors, Suns in Boston. Pelicans host the Mavs, Lakers take on the Rockets, and Clippers hosting Wemby and the Spurs. World Baseball Classic tonight, Venezuela taking on Italy at 6. The winner of this one will meet the States in the final on Tuesday. And at the Women's World Curling Championship, Canada leads Denmark 3-2 heading towards the end of the 4th. Canada currently tied for top spot with a 3-0 record. In the NFL, veteran cornerback Darius Slay announced his retirement after 13 seasons. A 6-time Pro Bowler, the 35-year-old Slay won a Super Bowl with the Eagles in 2025. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Dave McCarthy of SiriusXM and Ask 5 Questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Exciting news from St. Albert Dodge. The all-new 2026 Jeep Gladiator Sport packages have arrived. They have a great selection and a bunch of colors to choose from. And if you've checked out the Sport, you know it comes in some fun colors. Rugged capability, practical off-road features, and you can get behind the wheel for as low as $49,900. That's right. Put yourself in a brand new Jeep Gladiator Sport for less than $50,000. What more can you ask for? Time to head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Booster Juice is going crazy for hazelnuts.
No, not crazy. Nuts.
Booster
Good
Juice.
Monday. How are you?
Hazelnuts.
The Jason Gregor Show,
there are
Sports
bananas in
1440,
smoothies,
Sports
but that's not the point.
1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook.
Hazelnuts.
Jason Gregor Show, Sports.
Just
Sports
stop.
14.
Booster Juice is going nuts for hazelnut. Introducing the Nutty Monkey Smoothie, Holy Hazelnut
Show presented by
Acai Bowl,
Club
and
Butter
Nutty Booster Ball, all made with rich, creamy hazelnut spread. Try them today. Only
Family
at Booster
Sports
Juice.
1440. Kevin Woodley's going to join us in about
Canadian-born,
11, 12 minutes.
It's like a locker room, minus the smell. Kevin Carius brings the banter,
Sean Brown,
the
Connor
buzz,
Halley.
and the bold sports talk. Weekday mornings
Yeah,
from
huh?
7
Sports.
to 11 on Sports 1440, Edmonton's home for sports.
Action Electrical's projects team takes the field, folks, ready to execute the entire play for new commercial builds.
Absolutely. They're masters of design build, sketching strategy from initial blueprints to core electrical infrastructure. The team never misses on complex projects.
Known for handling big league constructions and major renovations, ensuring flawless execution, hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at edmontonexpocentre.com today.
50 years,
Awesome.
the Selby Group has been
You two
building
guessed it.
trusted homes and strong communities. This year, we're celebrating that milestone with special events and anniversary promotions you won't want to miss. Discover Hillshire by Selby Group, beautifully designed homes in a community built for the way you live today. And coming this spring, move-in ready spec homes will be available. Your new home is waiting. Celebrate 50 years of Selby Group at Hillshire. Visit selvygroup.com or stop by Hillshire today.
We've come a long, long way.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Japa is digging deep on their 50-year history of supporting Alberta's construction industry with their line of special edition blackout excavators. Visit japamachinery.com for all the details.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by playalberta.ca.
Shout to 3 o'clock as we roll through on a Monday afternoon. How are you? Welcome to the Gregor Show, presented by playalberta.ca, your one-stop shop. But remember, if you gamble, use your game sense. Go to gamesensab.ca and find out how to stay within your Limits tonight, staying within the limits of the playoff race because, man, you look at it in the NHL right now, there's 16 playoff spots. There's really only one that's 100% known. And I would say that's the Minnesota Wild finishing third in the Central. They're 6 back of Dallas. They're 14 points up on Utah. Could they gain, and by the way, Dallas has a game in hand. So could you gain 7 points in a 15-game span? Yes. I think it's going to be really hard when you're chasing the Dallas Stars, who are 14-0-1 in their last 15 games. They are rolling. They actually have their sights set suddenly on the Colorado Avalanche. The Carolina Hurricanes are pretty secure in number 1 in the Metro, but they have 90 points, and suddenly the surging Buffalo freaking Sabres are 2 points behind them for first in the Eastern Conference. The Sabres gained 12 points on Tampa Bay in a 10-game span. They went 9-1. Tampa went 3-7. First of all, what's wild is Tampa didn't have a game go to overtime. That's what's wild about it. So we'll see where it goes down the stretch here. And then you look at playoffs. So Montreal's 2 points behind Tampa for second, but they're also only 3 points out of a playoff spot. They're in third place. They got 82 in the Atlantic. The Penguins and the Islanders each have 81 points. They're second and third in the Metro. The only team that can catch them realistically is Columbus. And Columbus is only 2 points back, and they have a game in hand on the Islanders. So that's a race for second, third between those 3 teams. And then you get to the wild card, and you got the Bruins at 80, and you got the Red Wings at 80, and the Blue Jackets at 79. And here, coming down the backstretch, you got the whip on, and the Ottawa Senators are closing fast. They had a huge weekend. They won both games. And now they're 3 back of Detroit with the game in hand. And if you're a Detroit Red Wings fan, I'm telling you, you must get the you might have PTSD right now in the month of and I say that somewhat facetiously because I don't like to downplay everybody who actually has PTSD. But the Detroit Red Wings 2 years ago, March 1st, they're comfortably in a playoff spot, 7 points up on everybody. They lose 7 in a row and end up losing a tiebreaker to Washington. Then go to March of 2026. They're in the second wild card spot. How do they start the month? On a 6-game losing streak. And then and they just tank. They end up being eliminated in the playoffs before even the final week, and they end up 5 points out of a playoff spot. Now you fast forward to this year. January 1st, the Detroit Red Wings were first in the Atlantic Division. February 1st, they were second in the Atlantic Division. March 1st, and keep in mind, there's 3-week break in February. They didn't play games. They went from second on February 1st to March 1st. Now they're fourth in the division, and they're in the first wildcard spot. And now on March 15th, they're in the second wildcard spot. And they are floundering a little bit. And now no Larkin and no Kopp. They've got to find a way to stop the bleeding, because while they're floundering, here comes the plucky Senators and the Columbus Blue Jackets. And the Blue Jackets have gained points in each of their last 9 games. They're 5-0-4. If they lose in overtime or a shootout. They don't lose in regulation. So they're picking up the Bettman points. They're just milking their way up the standings, and it's an unreal race. So think about it. 82 points for Montreal, 81 for Pittsburgh and the Islanders, 80 for the Bruins and the Red Wings, 79 for the Jackets, and then the Senators are at 77. Like, it's a phenomenal race in the East. And in the West, Vegas 76, Anaheim 75. Oh, no, I got to update that. Vegas is Anaheim 77, Vegas 76, and Edmonton 75 points. And so they're separated within 2 points for 1, 2, 3, home ice advantage. And then you got the Sharks, Kraken, and Kings 71, 70, 69, and they're battling for the final wildcard spot. And the Utah Mammoth sit at 74. And a week and a half ago, we thought, oh, yeah, they're a lock. But suddenly they're floundering a little bit. And Seattle's gained ground. And Sharks are gaining ground. And the LA Kings, well, the Kings didn't gain any ground. And then they actually they lost 1 point on Utah in their last 10 games. But they're not completely out of the woodwork either. So it's awesome, man. There's only the 3 teams we know for sure are in. And like Anaheim is getting close. They're 8 points up on or 7 points up on 7th. And, if Edmonton beats the Sharks, then they're 7 points up on the Sharks. Like, they're probably not going to get caught by San Jose. But we got a lot of places up for grabs, man. And like, I look at Detroit, Brownie, and you say, man, if they fall out of it, Like, I wonder if major changes would come. Would the owner finally say enough's enough and maybe Steve Yzerman's out? In the West, though, unless one of Edmonton or Vegas fall out, like, I don't see San Jose making any changes. I don't really think Seattle would. And the Kings already made their changes. So, I don't know if there's a cop-out, but the Detroit Red Wings, no doubt in my mind, no team has more pressure on them to make the playoffs here in the final 15 games this season.
Yeah, I mean, the Yzer plan seems like it's been going on for quite a while, and it was going well until,
goes well until March 1st.
Until it's not going well. And then obviously, like you talked about the injuries there to Kopp and Larkin. But I mean, it's off. Desperate teams do desperate things, and there's also opportunity for other guys, to maybe step up. I mean, because they've been going at this for a while, they got, they're no different than some of the other, Anaheim. They do have some young players that, need to try and take advantage of this situation. But I'm as a hockey fan, it's been nice watching, LA and Winnipeg and St. Louis and certain teams that have been there consistently the last number of years. But it also is exciting to see, some fresh new teams come in there, like Utah, Anaheim, if they're able to get in there. So I think as a hockey fan, the variety right now and the fact that we're potentially going to see some new players, whether it's maybe a Scheifele, some of these young and up and coming, players, the new generation of players that are going to come up for, to see what they got in the playoffs is going to be exciting. But, this is great for the league. The fact that, like you said, some guys were dead and out of the water, it seemed like, and now all of a sudden are making, a comeback and are making a push to the end here. So, it could change even for the Edmonton Oilers. You look at last night, what's his name? Draisaitl getting banged up, hit there. Obviously, it doesn't seem like it's too much, but I mean, that's how close it is for teams, to lose, you lose your best player and it could change, day to day, basically.
Yes. Well, the orders, the update, because we got a lot of texts coming in at 833-401-1440. So Leon Draisaitl, Chris Knobloch, couldn't give an exact timeline. My understanding is that this is not a long-term issue. This is more of a short-term issue. Not going to play tomorrow. I'd probably be surprised if he played against Florida on Thursday. Although knowing Draisaitl, like, he'd love to play that game. Like, I know that Florida's not in the race, but the team that beats you 2 years in a row in the Stanley Cup final, there's a natural rivalry. There's a natural hate. Then you got Kachuk melting off at the Olympics. And honestly, for the record, it did not. I don't think it impacted Draisaitl at all. Let's make no mistake about it. But I just think you're the Edmonton Oilers. You're looking for reasons to get motivated down the stretch. There's no easier one than the Florida Panthers on Thursday, right? Regardless of what happens tomorrow night, I think the Oilers want to take care of business against the Sharks. They got a lot of reason to play there. But then you get against that Florida team, and I could see Edmonton being a little annoyed now. Like, they're going to want to win for sure. And the Panthers, they got a few. Barkov's not there. Reinhardt's not playing. They got a few other guys sitting out because they're hurt, whatever. But I still think and trust me, the Florida Panthers, they don't have a lot to play for. But they might say, hey, boys, just for fun, let's show them we can beat them again, right? Like, I think that Thursday game for a regular season game might have a little bit more juice than we expect.
Absolutely. I mean, they do have something to play for, right? I mean, guys are still playing for jobs and pride, and they're professionals. And, the fact that they've, beaten the Oilers the last couple of years, they're going to want to, try and take a chunk out of them, right? And the Edmonton Oilers are going to, now that they feel like they probably have the upper hand, are going to probably want to send a message to the Florida Panthers as well. So I expect it to be a very physical game. I hope that, Draisaitl obviously, is tough and is willing to play through a lot, which we've seen in the past. The only thing that kind of concerns me, and you'll never get it out of the coach or the training staff, but anytime you get hit the way he got hit, and it looks like it's probably kind of a rib thing, something on his side. And, those injuries kind of concern me a little bit just because of the way Draisaitl plays. Right. He likes contact. He invites contact in because he has the ability. He's so strong and has the ability to roll off guys and stuff like that. So hopefully a lot of, I think the best thing for the Oilers right now is if they can continue to roll and get some wins, then it obviously makes it there's a lot less pressure to kind of get Draisaitl back. So hopefully some guys can kind of step up and they continue to have some success, which will give him a little bit of breathing room to kind of, he's played a ton of hockey. He's played a lot of hockey the last couple of years, obviously with the Olympics. So anytime that he could have off to rest his body, I think would be a good thing for him.
Yeah. So, it was good. The anytime off, now he'd rather be playing. I don't know if that's a hip pointer or if it's his left knee. If you watch the replay on his left knee just before the hit, it kind of.
You think it was knee? I thought maybe it was his ribs, just the way he went into the side
I thought it could have been a hip pointer too, right?
Really?
One of the two. It could easily be. It could be a crack rib. Like there's
really because there's that
easily.
soft spot right there, right? Just above your pant there, and
Mhm.
obviously he's moving, and you're going in there awkwardly.
But I saw him limping down when he went off the ice, so that's why I wonder his knee. And then when he came back out, first thing he did, he was doing tight turns, right, both ways. Who knows what it is? It might, who knows what it is, but it doesn't sound like it's going. Like this is not something where you're like, oh my God, Draisaitl's not going to be back for the playoffs. That's I'm not hearing that at all. So, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, Dave McCarthy will join us. We got some 5 questions. Also, Stu Ballantyne's going to join us. We are going to talk about the World Cup that's coming to Edmonton. It's actually coming to Alberta. There'll be 10 of the 17 games in Alberta. Prague's going to host one pool, like Pool B, let's call it, and they will have 6 prelim games, and then one kind of quarterfinal, the 2-3 matchup game. The winner of that will move on to the semis. Then you're going to have 7 games in Calgary, similar, a pool of 4 teams. Everybody plays everybody once. That's 6 games, and they'll have a 2-3 game. Then you get to the semis, and the 2 semifinals and the final will be in Edmonton. So that's how the World Cup is going to be. And it's coming in February of 2028. So Ballantyne will join us, discuss that. My understanding is originally, actually, Edmonton and Calgary each had their own separate bids, but both of them had a caveat that if you wanted a shared bid, they would do it. And I guess that's kind of how it went. Despite what some politician will claim that it was their idea, that's not the case. Each team had their own separate bid, just for truthfulness. I will take a quick break. We'll return to the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 heating and cooling company for people who want heating and cooling, because you'll save a bundle by bundling. Then you can use hot, cold, hot, cold. Come on, thermostat, do what you're told. Turn up the heat, turn up the cold, so the vents start pushing out tornadoes. Bundle my furnace with some AC. Gonna get a deal from Legacy. Oh, yeah. Save a bundle when you bundle your new furnace and AC from Legacy today. Plus no payments and no interest for 1 year. That's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Craving your favorite mouth-watering pizzas? Papa John's has large specialty pizzas for only $19.99 for a limited time. Get a flavorful all the meat, the works, ultimate pepperoni, Hawaiian, barbecue chicken, and more on original thin or New York style crust. Use the code LSPEC at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app. Get yours today. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
At Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. Up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires, and $50 off a $150 service. We're basically the BLT of savings. Until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Hey, hon, I'm getting expressions and images to frame my hockey card collection in the man cave.
Perfect. I'll come with you and bring our wedding photos.
For sports memorabilia and family treasures, think Expressions and Images, your local custom framer since 91. You name it, we frame it.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
It's the iconic Jasper Ave patio
Patty Party. That's on the rocks.
We're turning Jasper Avenue green.
Your 5-day St. Patty's Day party kicks off Friday at OTR.
With live entertainment every day.
Including the Feelin' Lucky burlesque show on Sunday.
Plus pipers, Irish dancers, and doors open at 9 a.m. on the 17th.
We got more green beer than Marco has fancy shirts. And trust me, that's a lot.
Lucky the Leprechaun will be there.
Will you?
It's the iconic Jasper and Patty Party. That's on the rocks. Next round's on me. Woohoo!
The Price is Right, live at the Brick. Come on down to any Brick location for your chance to win over $300,000 in prizes. They're giving away shopping sprees, mattresses, appliance packages, big screen TVs, and so much more. Plus, this Saturday, play for up to $1,000 off your purchase. Everyone who makes a purchase is a winner. The price is always right at the Brick. The Brick, saving you more. Some conditions apply. See in store for details.
From the local rinks to homes and businesses across the province, Alberta's rural natural gas utilities are here to fuel life affordably, reliably, and safely. We're members of the Federation of Alberta Gas Co-ops, providing natural gas to keep our rural neighborhoods warm and connected every day. It's local, dependable, and it's ours. To learn more about the Federation of Alberta Gas Co-ops and our members, and how natural gas fuels your community, visit fedgas.com. Alberta's energy. Game on.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also a variety of excellent non-alcoholic options. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.328, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sean Brown. Monday afternoon. 5 games in the National Hockey League tonight. And ones with playoff implications. We just talked about the Red Wings. Like, when I look at the Red Wings schedule, this is the game they got to win. You can't lose to the Calgary freaking Flames tonight. You just can't do it. You got to find a way to win. When you consider everybody else around you is winning and your upcoming games. The Bruins are in New Jersey to take on the Devils. You got the LA Kings, the one team in the West in the race. They're taking on the Rangers. The Rangers suddenly are playing very well. Season's over, and they're like, hey, let's play great. You also have the Dallas Stars and the Avalanche, who are suddenly in a race for first place in West and in the Central Division. The Stars are hosting the Mammoth. And the Mammoth need a win because suddenly, like, they're not that secure in that first wild card spot. And the Pittsburgh Penguins, who have found ways to milk some points on this road trip without Malkin, without Crosby. It's almost over, but they got the Avs tonight, and then they go back to Carolina. Then they got one game against Winnipeg, and then they're playing Colorado and Carolina again. So, you know what? They got to find a way to try to maybe get a few more points. But the Avs got lots to play for now because suddenly they look in that rearview mirror, and things are closer than they appear. Because suddenly the 14-0-1 Stars have pulled to within 3 points of the Avs. And guess who plays each other on Wednesday night? The Stars and the Avs. That should be a hell of a game on Wednesday night to watch. So that's I love looking at the schedule now because there's certain games where you're like, thank you. Got the NHL Network. I'll be getting those games for sure. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440 is where you can text us. Jason Gregor, Sean Brown, as we get to Around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. The NHL Star Sticks are back at McDonald's. You can get one of the 7 mini sticks with every Star Sticks meal. Collect all your favorite players for a limited time, including McDavid and others at McDonald's. Dave A. McCarthy, who's a big collector of the NHL Star Sticks joins us now. Davey, how you doing?
Oh, I'm good, Jason. Man, back when I was a kid, like I had a lot of those collectibles. You remember the little mini goalie masks that McDonald's gave away back in the day, like the Ed Belfour, Curtis Joseph, Patrick Waugh era. They were like, the size of your fist. I think they gave away, I think John Van Beesbrook was in there, the iconic Florida Panther mask that he wore, had all those. So, man, as a kid, it was nothing better than like begging your dad, like, hey, can we swing by McDonald's and grab a meal here and get one of the freebies? I still have a lot of them too, which is actually crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a few teams. The Detroit Red Wings. I outlined it. Man, they've had death marches in March the last few years. 7-game losing streak knocked them out. 6-game losing streak knocked them out. Now all of a sudden, like they started the calendar year in first place in the Atlantic, and it's just been a slow erosion. Now they're into 5th place in their division. They're 1 point up on Columbus. Columbus has a game in hand. Actually, Columbus is ahead of them in points percentage, but that doesn't really matter because it's actual points.
Yeah.
And now the surging Ottawa Senators are there. Like you look at their next 3 games, you got Boston, you got Montreal. I think it's Pittsburgh or Ottawa. No, it's Ottawa. And like you got to win tonight, Dave. If you're the Detroit Red Wings, like this is bordering on a must-win game on March 16th for the Red Wings.
Yeah, I don't think that's outrageous to say at all. I mean, at this point in the year, when you're Detroit and you've got 13 plus 2, that's 15 games left. Yeah, certain games are must wins when you're that close to the playoff cut line. And I think there's a degree of here we go again type feeling setting in Detroit. It's hard, like it's human nature, right? It's hard to set that aside when you've kind of been in this position the last 2 years and you've caved in down the stretch to miss the playoffs to where they are again now, came into the post-Olympic break in a pretty good position. They've stumbled out of the Olympic break. They've only won 3 of their last 10 games. Now you got a bunch of teams that are hot on their heels. Until you actually accomplish the task, at least for me, there's always a bit of doubt as to, can I actually get it done? And I think maybe that's what this group is experiencing right now. You add into the fact that Dylan Larkin and Andrew Kopp are out of the lineup for at least the next 2 weeks. You take them out of a lineup that I think at the best of times, when everybody is healthy, is not strong enough down the middle of the ice. I look at Dylan Larkin as like an elite number 2 center, a guy that comes up short in matchups against other number 1 centers a lot of the time. I look at JT Compher and Andrew Kopp as poor man's number 2 centers, very good number 3 centers. So in other words, I think they've got a bit of a mismatch there to begin with. You take those 2 guys out of the mix, now you're in that much more difficult of a position. So we're going to see by the time we speak next week, I think a lot about where Detroit is headed this year with the games they've got coming up this week, starting tonight with Calgary, and then teams that they're chasing in that battle for a wild card spot. I think we'll know a lot about Detroit the next week, and we'll see. But I've said now for a couple of weeks, I even said it during the Olympic break, boys, that they were better than I expected through the first 2/3 of the year. And then when you shut it down for 3 weeks and you don't really have a track record to draw on, like, man, when I went back covering practice here for the Leafs during the Olympic break, felt like training camp, felt like a new season. Turned out not to be a new season for the Leafs. Point is, it felt like that. And sometimes you just can't quite get back what you had caught lightning in a bottle earlier in the year. And Detroit struggled to that standpoint right now. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this week plays out. They got to find a way to make the playoffs. If they don't, that'll be devastation for a 3rd consecutive year. And then I think you got to ask a lot of long, hard questions about really where you're really at as a franchise.
Dave, as you alluded to there, that points are tough, wins are important, and we've seen some coaches make some really tough decisions. We've seen locally here, Knobloch going with Ingram, Joel Quenneville sitting out Mason McTavish, and then in Montreal, you see Brendan Gallagher sitting for the first time in his career. Can you talk to maybe the importance of coaches making those tough decisions as they come down the stretch?
Well, I mean, as the coach, you're always thinking about what lineup can I put on the ice that helps my team best tonight. And if you have underperformance in your lineup, or you feel that someone else can help you more, you got to be able to make that decision. And so, you look at Joel Quenneville, he's got pedigree, and you can sit a guy down and say, hey, look, I need a little bit more from you. Take a breath, take a break, take a reset, and come back in. And I think guys would know that this is not a young guy trying to make his mark as a head coach. This is a guy who's been there, done that, won multiple Stanley Cups, has the best interests of his team at heart, and wants to make sure his young players continue to progress. So I think there's a level of trust there. Same thing with Marty St. Louis in Montreal. Like, Brendan Gallagher probably isn't going to like it, but he's 33 years old. He's not the guy that he was 7 or 8 years ago. And if Marty believes that there's somebody else that can help the lineup more so on a given night than Brendan on that particular night, he's going to make that move. Do I think Brendan Gallagher will not make an impact in Montreal the rest of the year? No, I don't. I think he will be a useful piece. But it's about putting guys in positions to succeed. And as a coach, sometimes you got to make some tough decisions and be prepared to deal with some unpleasant feelings. So long as, this is what I always say about coaching. If you communicate it to the individual as to the reasoning behind why you're making the decision, that's your prerogative as a head coach. And as long as you can make that case and make it compellingly, if the guy doesn't want to listen, then that becomes a him problem, not a you problem. But if he's willing to heed the advice and say, okay, look, I get it, I understand, maybe my foot speed, whatever, he'll come to me when it is the time that I can help, and that's fine. It's where you don't deliver a message as a coach and explain why, that I think things can really go sideways. And I think in all of those cases, certainly in Q's and Marty St. Louis' case, they'll communicate that. When it comes to Edmonton, boys, like that, sorry, that's not difficult. That's not difficult at all. Tristan Jarry, he's not stopping the puck. At the end of the day, Edmonton is not in a position where they're, the win the other night was big, against blanking here, Nashville on Sunday. That was big. They needed those 2 points. Like, they're not guaranteed to make playoffs. So at this point, I don't care if I hurt your feelings if I'm the head coach and you're the goalie. If you're not stopping the puck, I got to go to somebody else. And right now, Tristan Jarry has not been stopping the puck for quite some time.
Yes. No, that is obvious. Dave McCarthy joins us. David, the Buffalo Sabres just continue to push. The Dallas Stars have been pushing now too. They're within 3 points of the Colorado Avalanche. And you look at that Central Division, and second place means you get Minnesota in the first round. They're pretty much locked in. Like, there's a lot of the line. Like, I'll say it right now, game of the week is Wednesday in Denver and the Dallas Stars. Now, they both play tonight. They've got Utah and Pittsburgh respectively. But man, like, I look at the Stars and their push, and like, because Colorado, I just think Minnesota would be a real tough matchup for Colorado.
Minnesota's a heavy team. Like, they're not a team, like, they're better than they were in years past in terms of their game breakability. They've got Kirill Kaprizov, they got Quinn Hughes, Brock Faber's a really good player on the back end. He can move the puck. They've got some skilled guys that can break the game open anytime they go on the ice. And I know when Bill Guerin took over, that's what he was looking to add to the lineup, because they used to be nothing but a team that would try to grind you down and clog things up and be opportunistic. So they're better than they were, but they still have the DNA of that team from years past, where they try to be difficult to play against. They're a heavy team, and maybe they won't beat you tonight or tomorrow, but they're the type of team that over a 7-game series can take a little chip here, a little chip there, and wear you down and become a pain to get rid of. They've lost in the first round in recent years, but they've put up a fight, right? And even if you get them, they make you pay a price. So I want to avoid that if I'm Colorado or Dallas. And like, boys, it's crazy. A couple of weeks ago, never even looked at the Central Division as one that might be in play in terms of top spot. Now Now I feel like we're covering an election and the polls just closed and early returns are suggesting suddenly a district might have been in play that we didn't expect. And that's what's happened here with Dallas's incredible 14-0-1 run. And Colorado hitting the skids a little bit. Now top spot is absolutely in play. And given what plays out tonight, by the end of Wednesday night, Dallas could surpass Colorado in the Central Division. Which is wild. So, there's a lot to play for here. And whether it's Dallas, whether it's Colorado, I'd still pick either of those two teams ahead of Minnesota in a matchup. But they'll take a chunk out of them that you'd really rather not have to have taken out of you, I think, in the first round. So you want to avoid that matchup at whatever cost. This is going to be a really interesting week in the Central Division as well, because I did not see this coming at all. And I guess just to Tampa Bay standpoint, you alluded to them. Like, they rolled through town a couple of weeks ago, and like, they looked like they were playing well. They hit the skids a little bit. They'd lost, I think, a couple in a row. They won against the Leafs. And I asked John Cooper after that game if that was, more of the standard he's expecting. And if he thinks, he feels they've sorted them out now after a little bit of a blip. And even though they beat the Leafs relatively convincingly, he was not happy. He was like, honestly, no, I wasn't thrilled, he said. We've still got some areas that we really need to pay attention to. He was right, because that win against the Leafs has turned back into another, more than a blip now. They've scuffled for the better part of 2+ weeks. And, I still think they're a good team, but yeah, this has been a longer than expected regression in their play, I guess I would say. It's good it happens now, but I think they're at the point now where it's like, okay, enough is enough. Can't let this drag on any longer.
Davey, what, watching Bobby McMahon since he's been traded from the Leafs to Seattle, I mean, he's putting up points right now and playing very well. I think there was a stat, I think he was the second fastest guy, explosive guy in the NHL, but
yeah,
he seems to be doing well. I was kind of upset when the Leafs traded him, but you've seen him a lot. What do you think of that and how he's doing?
Well, I like Bobby McMahon a lot, but here's the enigma of Bobby McMahon. Yes, you're right. He, I think, had, unless it's changed since, but a month or so ago, he had an unreal speed burst that actually clocked higher than Connor McDavid. So the guy can fly. He's got some bite to his game. He's big. He's in tremendous shape. He's a bit physical, not overly physical, but he doesn't mind playing a physical game. His hands in around the net can come and go. That's been the issue with him. And at this time in the year, traditionally his play has dropped off a lot. Like last year in Toronto, he was really good up until the not the Olympic break, the Four Nations break. Wrote a big piece on him because he had just rolled through Alberta, where he's from, and family, the whole bit. And I wrote a big piece on him, came out just after the Four Nations break. Guy never scored again the rest of the year. It was disappointing. But the point is, he's 30 years old. He is a guy that doesn't have a ton of mileage on his chassis, but he's been inconsistent at the most important time of the year. So you still don't really know what you have. And what the issue for the Leafs was, they didn't want to commit to him at what he was looking for, which is his best time to make money, right? He'll never have a better chance to make money than this summer. And so he was looking at in the neighborhood of 5 years. Would love 5. I would probably settle for, low to mid 4s, but would love 5. And the Leafs weren't willing to commit to that. And I don't blame them, because you love Bobby McMahon at like 1.2, Sean. Do you love him at 5 years and call it $4.5 million at the age of 30? You might, but you might not also. And that's where they were concerned. And so we'll see. He plays like this, he's going to earn his contract, as he absolutely should in the offseason. I know he loved being a Leaf. Does he circle back here? I'm sure they'll have interest if Seattle doesn't re-sign him. But at what cost? And if there's a number of teams interested, he'll get his money, again, as he should. I just don't know if the Leafs should be the one that give him that, because I just think they're in a position where, you didn't win with Bobby McMahon at 1.2. Are you going to win with him at 4.5 times 5? Like, I just think they've got bigger issues to allocate their resources on right now.
Have yourself a great day, buddy. We will chat with you on the brunch on Sunday and next Tuesday here on the Gregor Show.
Beautiful. Thanks, boys. See it.
There you go. That is Dave A. McCarthy from SiriusXM. We'll come back. We got 5 questions and more. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle noodle.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade: safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
This summer, it's coming. An unstoppable force that will turn your home into the Sweatbox.
Don't live in a summer blockbuster. Pro Solutions is your one-call-solves-it-all expert for AC repairs, tune-ups, and new installations. With fast appointments and flexible financing, we'll make sure your home story has a comfortable ending. AC season is coming soon, so book today.
Lock in pre-season pricing today.
Visit ProSolutionsInc.ca to schedule your service today.
Every goal, every Selly. The place to cheer on your favorite team is Selly's Sports Bar and Lounge. Never a bad seat in the house, with all games on tons of big screens. And Selly's menu, top shelf. Plus, check out the game night food and drink features. And don't miss the excitement of Oilers watch parties all season long. Experience Selly's Sports Bar and Lounge at all 3 Century Casino locations: Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile.
Every day is game day at Century Casino.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 heating and cooling company for people who want heating and cooling, because you'll save a bundle by bundling. Then you can use hot, cold, Come on, thermostat, do what you're told. Turn up the heat, turn up the cold, to the vents start pushing out tornadoes. Bundle my furnace with some AC. Gonna get a new from Legacy. Oh yeah, save a bundle when you bundle your new furnace and AC from Legacy today. Plus no payments and no interest for 1 year. That's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Looking for a tasty lunch? Papa John's has you covered. Get a small 2-topping pizza for only $9.99 with code word S999 at papajohns.ca. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. Welcome back. It is the Gregor Show, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Hope you are having a lovely, lovely Monday. We got a lot of texts flying in. Hey, Gregor, do you know our season ticket holders, do they get first crack at the World Cup tickets? That I do not know, but we will ask Stu Ballantyne about that. Like Edmonton has a pretty big season ticket base. I think it's still 13, almost 14,000 tickets that are season tickets. So you'd like to think so, but I know that that supposedly in Calgary they had an interview and they just said it's controlled by the NHL. So how many tickets are they going to give to season tickets? That was a really good question. So I don't know, but maybe there'll be like a draw amongst season ticket holders first, and then you go from there. But yeah, I'm sure it'll be a highly sought after ticket. That I think is certain. There's no debate about that, right? Not sure your alumni pass will be working for you. For that game.
Hey, whatever. Whether you get in or in around the ice district, I'm sure it'll be buzzing. It'll be fun.
Yes, it'll be no doubt. I think it'll be a good time. Let's get to 5 questions now, brought to you by The Brick. Where? If you're looking for a great deal right now, stop in at The Brick, because you can get over $300,000 in prizes to be won on mattresses, sofas, big screen TVs, appliance packages, and more. It's The Price is Right live at The Brick right now.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, guys, with Draisaitl looking like he's going to miss some time, how would you rework the lines for the Oilers?
I'd probably keep that McDavid line and Savoy. I think that they obviously look good. I think Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is maybe a guy that I would maybe move into the middle and maybe move Dickinson down as your third line center. Obviously I think Podkolzin's playing well. Maybe move him up between he'd be on the left side with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and I like the way Roslovic's playing. Right. I think those guys are playing really. That would give them another, second line that could create some offense. And I don't know. You probably put. Henrique. I'd probably put Frederick. I kind of like the way Frederick has been playing. I'd probably move him up maybe to the third line just to reward him for, the fact that he's engaging and I think it's important to reward guys and make sure they understand that, hey, if you're playing a certain way, you're going to play up in the lineup. So.
I think the fact that he's not going to be out long-term, they're not going to mess with all the lines. That doesn't make sense. So McDavid's line will stay the same. I think they're just going to keep Nugent-Hopkins with Dickinson and Roslovic. It's your third line. Hey, if they want to be your second line for a game, they should be able to do it. And then Szymanski's just going to slot in place of Draisaitl with Kapanen and Podkolzin. And then you have Frederick, Henrique, and Jones as your fourth line. So I don't really see a big reason to change it. Draisaitl, this guy's not going to be out for weeks. So why would I throw everything in? I think the coach, look at last night. Draisaitl left. He kept the third line together. The Dickinson, Nugent-Hopkins, Roslovic. He wants to get him some continuity. And so for a game or two, Josh Szymanski, come on down. You're going to get an opportunity.
Question number 2. Connor Ingram's been a fantastic story getting back to the NHL with all he's been through. How do you think he will fare as the go-to guy for the Oilers in the playoffs?
Honestly, I have no idea. Until I see him in the playoffs, who knows? I'll say this. We heard it from Woodley earlier. If you have a controlled environment, he'll play pretty well. So if the Oilers have a controlled environment, then I think the goalie will be great. Is he going to be able to steal them a ton of games? I don't know. Stuart Skinner stole a few games. So Ingram maybe could steal you a few games, but we'll have to see kind of how he does. He's never, by my account, I don't think he's ever played in the playoffs. So this will be, that would be a new thing for him.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, it's exciting. I think obviously he's put himself in a good position.
Oh, no, he played 4 games. Sorry. He played 4 games for Nashville.
So he's got some experience. I mean, the fact that he's faced some adversity throughout his career, I would think that adversity would probably help him with his preparation and just the understanding of the moment. So, yeah, I don't think a lot of it would have to do with how the Oilers play in front of him. But I don't think he has to steal a game. I think he just has to continue to play the way he's playing and just make that save.
Question number 3. We know the World Cup of Hockey coming to Edmonton, Calgary, and Prague in 2028. Give me one player that didn't represent their country at the Olympics but you will be looking forward to seeing in 2028?
Right?
The World Cup of soccer?
No,
World
hockey.
Cup
Oh,
of
of hockey. Oh, gee.
No, basically,
Yeah.
who
Oh,
didn't make the
my bad.
Olympic
Yeah,
team
yeah.
that you think's
Okay,
going to
yeah,
make
yeah,
the
yeah.
World
Well,
Cup
obviously,
team?
it'd be Schaefer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's for me would be a no-brainer. I mean, just the season that he's having, and I was able when I was down in the States there, I caught a couple of the Islanders games, and man, is he just like Celebrini. I mean, just amazing at that age to be able to, the way he skates and the confidence in the way he's playing as a defenseman, just the control and poise. And I mean, it's nice to watch. He'll be a nice player to watch for a number of years.
That's a good one. I'm going to go with Evan Bouchard. Just, I think he's a good player. It also might shut up the national people who don't watch enough of the games to recognize that he actually does make a lot of really good plays. That would be my pick.
Question 4. We've got the World Baseball Classic going on right now. Have you guys enjoyed the event, and do you see anyone beating the States as they await the winner of Italy and Venezuela tonight?
I haven't sat down and watched the whole game, but the little bits that I've watched, obviously, when you have the stars that are playing in it, yeah, I mean, it's exciting, fun to watch. But yeah, I mean, I like the States, and obviously, what's the power hitter there on the
Aaron
Yankees?
Judge?
Aaron Judge, and yeah, I mean, they just seem to have a pretty deep lineup, so I'll go with them.
Yeah, I'd like anybody but the U.S. to win, so I'm going to pick the upset. Go upset. I don't care who it is. It doesn't matter. Just get an upset.
Final question for you guys. On this day in 2022, it was announced that Joe Buck and Troy Aikman would take over Monday Night Football after spending 20 years with Fox. Right now, who is your favorite broadcasting duo in sports?
Go ahead, Gregor. I got to look this one up here.
Good question. Do I have a favorite duo? For first years, Tony Romo was unreal, but I don't know, last year it kind of did a few odd, I don't know what happened there. So, I'll probably go. I enjoy Louie and Jack. I watch them probably the most. So, it's informative. I'd probably go with them because it's different. That's a regional one. That's the team you watch the most. If I was going national, I don't care. I just like Dan Shulman as a play-by-play. I don't really care who his color guy is. I really like Dan Shulman as a playoff guy. He can call a lot of different sports, so I'll go with Shulman.
Yeah, he is good. I'm gonna go with I think it's John Miller and Joe Morgan
on Sunday Night Baseball. But Sunday Night Baseball. Yeah, they've been there forever.
Yeah, I thought they were great. I love their voice. Just I don't know, just some guys kind of draw you in with just their approach, obviously their knowledge, but just to me, it was kind of their voice was very, soothing. I mean, Buck Martinez was another guy that was very good. So, I mean, there's lots of them out there.
Cons, you got one?
Yeah, I mean, for a funny biased one, Paul Allen from the Minnesota Vikings is hilarious. In the past, I probably would have said John Madden and Al Michaels on Monday Night Football, but right now, similar to you, Gregor, just like this guy in anyone, Kevin Harlan in anyone. The way he brings calls to life, especially on the radio, is fantastic. So when he's doing a CBS game, for me, it's must watch.
He is actually really good. He brings a lot of energy and excitement. He's had some great calls. Like maybe one of the hilarious ones is when he's calling the streaker. Right?
He's drunk.
The play-by-play of the streaker.
Jack, I mean, we're pretty spoiled here too with Jack and Louie. I mean, you talk about excitement. I mean, Jack is, especially coming down the stretch in the last few minutes of a hockey game. I mean, he's very engaging. I think he's doing a super job.
Yeah, very true. Don't let him tell. Don't let him. Hopefully, he wasn't listening. Don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear that. Shirt. The only thing that will get bigger is his shirts will get louder. That's the only thing. So, we'll see. Brownie, have yourself a great day. The Oilers 3 games this week. What happens? What's your thought?
3 games. I think they'll win. I think they'll win 2 of them.
2. Okay.
Yep.
Losing to who? Tampa or Florida? Because I think they have to beat the Sharks.
Yeah, I think they're going to lose. If they're going to lose a game, I'll say Florida.
Oh,
the game that they should win.
The game that they
is the one they won't win.
Florida wraps it up one more time. Okay, I like it. Let's get to Connor Halley and a sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Thinking maybe spring. Want to get a new set of wheels, tires, wheels, oil change, vehicle repairs? They do it all. FountainTire.com.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
In case you missed it, the NHL announcing that Edmonton, Calgary, and Prague will host the 2028 World Cup of Hockey. It'll include 8 nations and be held mid-season in February of 2028. On the ice tonight, you got the Flames in Detroit. Devils host the Bruins. Kings taking on the Rangers. Stars meet the Mammoth, and the Penguins in Denver taking on the Avalanche. In the association, the Celtics will host the Suns. Magic meet the Hawks. Wizards taking on the Warriors. The Trailblazers and the Nets. Pelicans, Mavs, Lakers, Rockets, and the Clippers hosting the Spurs. World Baseball Classic, Venezuela meets Italy tonight at 6. The winner of this one will head on to the final where they'll take on the States on Tuesday at the Women's World Curling Championship. Canada and Denmark tied at 5. Right now in the 8th, and Canada currently sitting atop the leaderboard with a 3-0 record. And from the NFL, veteran cornerback Darius Slay announcing his retirement from the NFL after 13 seasons. He's a 6-time Pro Bowler and won a Super Bowl with the Eagles in 2025. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll get to the oil report, stat of the day, and be joined by OEG's Stu Ballantyne. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province. There's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play when you use your game sense.
CanTorque has turned 25. That's right, 25 years of building tools so good, they practically torque themselves. Hard work and innovation equals problem solved. See our latest designs at CanTorque.com.
Craving your favorite mouth-watering pizzas? Papa John's has large specialty pizzas for only $19.99 for a limited time. Get a flavorful all the meats, the works, ultimate pepperoni, Hawaiian, barbecue chicken, and more on original thin or New York style crust. Use the code LSPEC at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app. Get yours today. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
Jason Gregor isn't just a sports guy. He's a community builder.
With over $3 million raised for local charities.
And his Gregor Foundation, he's making a difference on and off the air. Check out Gregor weekday afternoons on Sports 1440.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 furnace install company for sailors because they know the value of a warm port. And they sing, there was a ship who fought the cold, who sailed the sea with a furnacey load. She brought the heat to YEG and her name was Legacy. Through icy wind and winter squall, her fire she burned for one and all with a comfort trucking guarantee, and her name was Legacy. No! Yep, no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. Don't trust just any port in a winter storm. Trust Legacy Heating and Cooling.
For 50 years, the Selby Group has been building trusted homes and strong communities. This year, we're celebrating that milestone with special events and anniversary promotions you won't want to miss. Discover Hillshire by Selby Group, beautifully designed homes in a community built for the way you live today. And coming this spring, move-in ready spec homes will be available. Your new home is waiting. Celebrate 50 years of Selby Group at Hillshire. Visit selvygroup.com or stop by Hillshire today.
Camping on a long weekend without a Toyota Tacoma can feel crowded. But when you get a Tacoma during Red Tag Days, you can take advantage of its powerful I-Force engine and rugged capability to find a better site. Take advantage of Red Tag Days on now. Lease a 2026 Tacoma 4x4 Double Cab SR5 from $110 weekly for 60 months at 5.99% APR with $6,899 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today.
Craving your favorite mouth-watering pizzas? Papa John's has large specialty pizzas for only $19.99 for a limited time. Get a flavorful all the meats, the works, ultimate pepperoni, Hawaiian, barbecue chicken, and more on original thin or New York style crust. Use the code LSPEC at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app. Get yours today. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio, from weekend warriors to professional athletes, kids playing soccer to grandparents in the garden, rotator cuff tears and tendonitis, post-surgical knees and hips. We fix your body. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 4 o'clock as we roll through Monday afternoon. Man, I have to say, the playoff races this year in the National Hockey League are going to be spectacular. You're going to have a lot of fun with it. Check it out there. We got a few at our Jason Gregor Show daily specials at PlayAlberta.ca, our title sponsor, involving the Rangers and the Kings tonight. Of course, the LA Kings battling for their playoff lives in the Western Conference. They come into tonight's action with 16 games remaining. They're in 10th place in the West, one back of 9th place San Jose, and two back of the Seattle Kraken. Both the Kraken and the Kings has 16 games left. The Sharks have 17. So the Kings play in the New York Rangers, one of the worst teams in the National Hockey League. They're dead last in the Eastern Conference. Only Chicago, Calgary, and Vancouver have fewer points than the Rangers. But all of a sudden, the Rangers have won 4 in a row. Man, you're a Ranger GM. You're like, what are we doing? With every win, they're just lowering their odds in the draft lottery. Classic, right? You can, hey, don't ask players to lose. Can't do it. But it is, it's not going good. So they could play spoiler. Maybe they got it. Maybe, well, the organization, their fans, still probably thinking, hey, let's take out the Kings. Okay, why not? See if it happens. So Rangers, Kings tonight. Also games with playoff implications, definitely for teams battling for a spot. The Detroit Red Wings. I would argue this is like a must-win game for the Red Wings. Like, must win. They're playing the Flames tonight, who's one of the worst teams in the league. But then after that, you've got a boatload of tough games. Boston, Montreal, all the teams you're trying to chase. So you got to find a way, I think, to stop the bleeding. The Red Wings lose tonight, this could just be a real quick descent out of the playoff in the Eastern, because suddenly Ottawa's rolling. They're 3 back of the Red Wings, and they have a game in hand. The Blue Jackets are 1 back of the Red Wings, and they have a game in hand. They actually have a slightly higher points percentage at 0.598 to 0.597. So it's tough, man. Now, the Blue Jackets have a really difficult schedule. They got, out of their 16 games, 12 of them are against teams currently in a playoff spot or battling for a playoff spot. And that's going to be tough, I think, for Columbus down the stretch. So, because you look at the Red Wings, after tonight, they host Montreal, Boston, and Ottawa. By next Monday, we could have a real better indication of are the Red Wings going to get in, or are they, falling out again? So we'll see where they're at there. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. We are going to get to our stats of the day, brought to you by All Star Construction. They specialize in underground utilities, power, gas, telecommunications, and street lighting. They also do directional drilling and hydrovacing. Founded in 2009. That is All Star Construction. And I want to look at the some stats for you involving the Edmonton Oilers, because of course you probably care about the Oilers down the stretch, because they're in a race with Vegas and Anaheim for first, second, and third in the Pacific Division. I think Edmonton's more focused on what's ahead of them rather than Seattle and San Jose behind them, although that's why tomorrow's game is very big. You win that game, and then the Sharks, who are currently in 9th place, would suddenly be 7 points behind you. So you could rest a little easier, thinking, okay, now I can just focus on being in the playoffs rather than focus on, and then you focus on what seed you would get. But the Edmonton Oilers, if you do a quick breakdown, they have 14 games left, 9 at home, 5 on the road, 11 of their games are against either playoff teams or teams on the outside. So they play San Jose. They're right in the mix. Tampa Bay, Utah, Vegas, Anaheim, Seattle. So 7 of their next 8 are against that. Then they got Chicago to start April. No, Vegas, Utah, San Jose, LA, Colorado, and then they end with Vancouver. So their only games against teams who aren't in the playoff picture are Vancouver, last game of the year, Chicago, first game of April, and the Thursday game against the Panthers. That's it. So now, good news with that is nobody plays in the West more teams in the race than the Edmonton Oilers, right? The Oilers have the Sharks twice. They got Vegas twice. They got Utah twice. They got Anaheim, Seattle, LA. So they do control their destiny a little bit more as they face off against those teams. And for the last few years, Edmonton has done very well in their division. They've suddenly owned Vegas, winning 8 of their last 9 games. So if you look at Anaheim, they have 8 at home, 7 on the road, only 6 games versus teams in the hunt. Vegas has 8 at home, 7 on the road, 8 versus teams in the playoff mix. Seattle's in tough. So Seattle's currently in a playoff spot with 71 points. They have 16 games left, but they only have 6 games at home, 10 on the road, and 11 are against teams in the race. So you look, they have Tampa Bay at home on tomorrow night. Then they go on the road to Nashville, Columbus, Florida, Tampa, Buffalo, and they finish that 6-game road trip in Edmonton. So Nashville, Columbus, Florida, Tampa, Buffalo, Edmonton. So a little bit of a scheduling advantage for the Edmonton Oilers. Then they're home. They got Utah. Then they got Minnesota on the road. They got Vegas at home, LA at home, Vegas on the road, Colorado on the road. Like Seattle's last 6 games are Vegas, Minnesota, LA, Vegas, Colorado, and Calgary's mixed in there. So they do not have an easy stretch here of games for Seattle. And really their season probably comes down to that 6-game road trip that starts in Nashville on Thursday night. Probably got to go at least 4-2 in that, I would think, if you're Seattle, to want to keep pace or keep ahead of the San Jose Sharks. That is going to be massive for them. Some other numbers for you to look at. The Edmonton Oilers. So we know that Leon Draisaitl visited the doctor today to get the opinion on his lower body injury. He did come back and play, which to me is a good sign. It wasn't, and I was told that this is not long-term. It's more short-term. So that's good news. You had Matt Savoy is going to stay on Connor McDavid's wing for the foreseeable future, according to head coach Chris Knobloch. Asked him about it last night, and he goes, there's no reason to change out Matt Savoy the way he's played. And that's great news. Matt Savoy is is coming along here. Now he's got 27 points as a rookie. But if you look at that, most of those points have come since out of the break, right? 9 of them. He has 9 points in 10 games? Yeah, 9 points in 10 games. It's a big resurgence for him. And he's a young player starting to find his way a little bit. And when I look at him, he's reliable defensively. He can kill penalties. And man, can he skate. Like you look at Savoy, he's very quick, right? He takes shorter strides, so he looks like he's moving a lot faster, which is fine. But he can really go. And you look at his goal last night, a lot of that was basically due to his speed. He skated away from the Nashville guys who were trying to catch him, and they couldn't do it. So that to me is Connor McDavid. I don't know, like, can you think of a player who was as quick, who played regularly with Connor McDavid? I can't think of one. So Savoy, and he's just coming into his own. The thing that's big about Savoy is he doesn't look like he's intimidated to play with skilled players. And that's a skill. Savoy's top end speed was tracked so far this year at like 22.7. He's up in like the top 23% in the league. for speed. Like, he can really go. And that's why the Oilers, like, you look, so you got Savoy, you got McDavid. He obviously can skate. Hyman can skate. Kapanen can really move. Podkol's a good skater. Nugent, Roslovic can fly. And he's very smooth. Like, Roslovic might be the second smoothest skater on the Oilers. And his ability to accelerate while he glides, I find the most impressive. So, the Oilers have speed across the line now. And Jason Dickinson. We're going to get to him now, Cons. We got that Jason Dickinson interview because caught up with Dickinson today in the room, myself and Spec. And Spec started with one question that I asked, basically, then I kind of just did a little one-on-one with him. And, Dickinson he has a defensive reputation, no question. But remember, he did score 22 goals. So he can chip in when need be. And Dickinson, first of all, is talking about the commitment to winning mainly starts defensively.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is due to checking habits and tracking, getting above quickly, keeping them hemmed into the zone, and honestly, the easiest defense is good offense. So the more time you spend in the O zone, the less time they have with the puck. It's going to usually bode well for you. And back to the tracking, guys have been getting above really well. It creates a great opportunity for D-men to step, create good gaps, and turn pucks over so that we can transition quickly and get back on the offense.
San Jose is maybe a little ahead of the Chicago team you left, but they're both young teams that probably want to play higher event hockey. And generally the way to beat that team is to play lower event hockey. Is this the veteran team? To beat San Jose, do you have to play, maybe less exciting hockey?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Macklin, Will Smith, those guys, they're obviously very high skilled, and you give them their opportunities, they're probably going to cash in. So the less you give them, the more frustrated they're going to get, the more opportunities we're going to get, the more they're going to turn pucks over and feed our transition. And that's where the game is going to be in our hands.
I understand they said you don't want to cheat for offense, obviously, but you've shown you can score at this level, right? Nugent Hopkins obviously can score. Same with Roslovic. Is there just going to be maybe more offensive opportunities because the guys you're playing are more offensive? And, Nugent's obviously pretty reliable defensively. So is it more that you don't cheat more, but you just expect to maybe be able to create?
Yeah, absolutely. And part of that is, like you said, offensive opportunity. How many more offensive zone faceoffs do you get? Where do you start with the puck? Are you starting on a back check? Are you starting on a defensive zone faceoff and having to move the puck up the ice? So there's a lot that goes into how your game blends into the offense. And so now, yes, with Leon out, there's probably more opportunity for myself, probably Sammy and Rico as well, to get more offensive zone starts. And that obviously lends to you getting more offensive opportunities, more scoring chances, more zone time. So there's a fine line between cheating for offense and just recognizing the plays before they happen. And with a guy like Nuge, you said he's super reliable. You know that you can take one extra step because you expect him to make the play that is there. So you don't have to sit back maybe as much as you would with a younger player that's not as experienced, and you might be trying to protect him or your other line mates to make sure that everybody's taken care of on the ice. Nuge can take care of me at the same time.
For you personally, it's been a while since you've been in the playoffs. And last time you went all the way to the Cup finals. Yeah, by expectations, this team in the last 5 games, outside of the Dallas game, starting to see kind of a better structure defensively. I know it's only been, over a week for you, but what have you noticed in the last few games that leads you to believe that you're starting to ramp up at the right?
It's the guys buying in. It's all the little things, block shots, sticking up for teammates, just making the play while getting hit. Embo makes a great play. He gets hurt on the play, but it's being able to do those little things creates a culture and an expectation amongst everybody that that's what we have to do in order to be successful. And there's no deviating. You don't need to come in here and bitch and moan and yell at each other about it, because everybody knows there's a standard. And if you don't meet the standard, you're not at that level, and it's disappointing in yourself. It's not one guy is calling another guy out. It in your heart because you're seeing Connor do it, you're seeing Leon do it, you're seeing the top guys do it, and that sets a standard that everybody has to follow.
You talked about the back pressure, back tracking. That's been to me the most noticeable difference here the last few games is just how many guys are getting back in the right spots and really limiting the rush chances from the opposition.
Yeah, a commitment off the puck is invaluable. You can't really measure it. I don't know if there's an advanced statistic that can tell you, wow, this guy's really good at tracking. But as a group, you see that stuff. You give props to the guy that gets above and make sure that when there's a half chance against, he's making it as hard as possible for the other team to make it a really good scoring chance.
There's Jason Dickinson. Well said. And that kind of really gives you a sense of breaking down. Guy who understands the defensive side. I love his response about Nugent Hopkins. When you play with the guy that responsible, sometimes you can take that extra step because knowing he's going to get you the puck. Right? That's the key about you go to your area when you know and you trust that the guy's going to make the play. So that's key. When we come back, they made a play for the World Cup, and it worked. The 2028 World Cup of Hockey. It's coming to Alberta. It's going to be in Calgary and in Edmonton. And we'll break it down with Stu Ballantyne next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 heating and cooling company for people who want heating and cooling, because you'll save a bundle by bundling. Then you can use hot, cold, hot, cold. Come on, thermostat, do what you're told. Turn up the heat, turn up the cold, to the vent start pushing out tornadoes. Bundle my furnace with some AC. Gonna get a new from Legacy. Oh, yeah. Save a bundle when you bundle your new furnace and AC from Legacy today. Plus no payments and no interest for 1 year. That's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Wondering what you can afford? Let Go Auto do the math with our free car loan calculator. No pressure, no awkward convos, just quick answers on your budget and payments. Bad credit? No credit? We got you. Text check to 780-777-7777. That's check to 780 all 7. Find out what you qualify for and start shopping with confidence. Go Auto. Drive what you love with payments that make sense.
It's the iconic Jasper Ave Patty Party. That's on the rocks.
We're turning Jasper Avenue green.
Your 5-day St. Paddy's Day party kicks off Friday at OTR.
With live entertainment every day.
Including the Feelin' Lucky burlesque show on Sunday.
Plus pipers, Irish dancers, and doors open at 9 a.m. on the 17th.
We got more green beer than Marco has fancy shirts. And trust me, that's a lot.
Lucky the Leprechaun will be there.
Will you?
It's the iconic Jasper Ave Patty Party. That's on the rocks. Next round's on me. Woohoo! NHL Star Sticks are back at McDonald's, and we're celebrating by going bigger.
Make that smaller, way smaller than ever before.
Collect the set and get one of 7 mini sticks with every NHL Star Sticks meal. Featuring McDavid, Matthews, Quinn Hughes, Makar, Celebrini, Reinhardt, and Montembeau. So get yours while they last. 1 stick per meal purchase. Limited time at participating Canadian restaurants.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Ewell. Get your power play amped up with Ewell, supplying the city of champions in Alberta with quality electrical gear since 1975. Ewell.ca is your partner in power.
The Jason Gregor Show. Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We roll through Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Very weird watching curling because they got the rings are like a green and then a lime green. Colors got me all off. I do kind of like that they have different colors sometimes. But I don't know if I've ever seen a tournament where they have it with those 2 different shades of green. I have to say I'm a big fan of it, Cons. Big fan of the 2 shaded green that they got going there. I like it. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where, of course, you can get in the game, lottery, instants, game sense, casino, live dealers, and more at PlayAlberta.ca. As we get to the oil report brought to you by Go Auto. Over 15,000 vehicles free to choose from online, cars, trucks, vans, SUVs, you name it. They got it, and great deals at goauto.ca. And coming up in 23 months, I know it seems like it's a ways away, but time will fly, and soon the 2028 World Cup of Hockey will be coming to Edmonton, as the semifinals and the finals will be played here. Prague will host 7 games. Calgary will host 7 games, the prelims and the quarterfinal. And then the semifinal and final are coming to Edmonton. And to break it all down, how to come here, we're joined by Oilers Entertainment Group President and Chief Operating Officer, Stu Ballantyne. Stu, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. What a wonderful day. Very
so, Stu, kind of walk me through this process. And my understanding is you actually made an original bid for Edmonton alone, and Calgary made their own bid, but then you also had a caveat that you could do it together if the NHL is that correct?
Yeah, we were required to submit bids directly for your city to take on the whole, what they call Pool B, the North American pool.
Okay.
And we had to submit that way. As we were going along, we said, well, what if Calgary hosted Pool A and we hosted Pool B, and the whole thing was in Alberta? And so a year ago we applied, and we got the letter of intent we had to go through, and then a whole bunch of documentation and we had to go, and then we were invited to Toronto, at which time we pitched that, and the NHL and the NHLPA said that no, one of the pools would definitely be in Europe. And so, okay. But it got us thinking, we're competing against each other for this. What if we still work together and hosted it? They've got a brand new arena. We've got a proven arena with the NHL, and I think we could put a pretty decent bid together. So we worked with Calgary Sports and Entertainment, and we didn't split the games yet. We just talked about doing a joint bid, and we pitched that to the NHL. And our bids went in as single city bids, but they also had a caveat in the cover letter that we'd be willing to work with Calgary. And one thing led to another.
Okay, so you went in as an individual bid with the caveat that if need be, we could work together. Obviously, Calgary is going to have a new facility by then. Your facility is still one of the best facilities in the National Hockey League. So now, when did it come down to deciding who got the prelim and who got the finals? How did Edmonton end up with the semis and the final?
So the NHL and the PA make that decision. It's their tournament. We're just, it's our house, but their tournament. So they came to us a few weeks ago and said, here's how the split's going to be. And it originally was going to be, it was a 7-3. We pitched, well, what about a 6-4? Because it helps financially. And they said, logistically, it makes way more sense for that elimination game to remain in Calgary after they determined that they wanted to do the finals here. So
okay,
we're a 7-3 split. We're okay with that.
Yeah.
It makes sense for the team, because otherwise the team would have to travel to Edmonton to get sent home, right?
Yeah. So if you look at it, because one of the questions I have is, season ticket holders, do they get first bid? How's that going to work?
Well, once again, the NHL, when sponsors and everything, will take a good amount of tickets. But I was pretty impressed when we were chatting that there's still quite a few tickets available for the local markets, way more than you'd see with an all-star game or other events that they've done. So we're happy. That's all going to get ironed out in the next little while. But I think our season seat holders and regular seats ticket holders are going to be happy with the access for an NHL event.
Now, Stu, do you have the dates yet? Like, because if Pool A is over in Europe and Pool B is here and they play a quarterfinal, like, is there going to be like a 3-day gap so they get some travel time? How does that work between the quarters and the semis?
Yeah, the only dates that they're really releasing right now is just that it's February, but for sure they have to. There's going to be teams that are going to have to travel from Prague over to Alberta, and definitely there's going to have to be some gaps in there, which also helps the tournament and extends the hype. So we're pretty happy about it.
Now, outside of the on ice, what can we expect, or what can fans expect to kind of that's going to go on around the district and stuff? Because I know this isn't just about the games themselves.
Correct. So, the way we're looking at it and Calgary's looking at it is the tournament is the full tournament, so whether it's watch parties, all the different activities, we're looking to grow the game, not only in Alberta, but in Canada. The same for the NHL. They would want to see us grow the game. So there'll be a ton of activities that go. This is not your typical NHL event. It's a World Cup, and therefore there's going to be multiple ways to consume the tournament, whether you're in the arena or just around it, or even just in Alberta.
So by having this, Stu, because, a lot of Oiler fans have wondered, hey, are they ever going to get the All-Star game? Are you ever going to get the draft? And I know that it was something that the organization always said, yeah, we'll bid when we have more things completed. Does this limit the opportunity to have a draft or an All-Star game right away, which I think is fine, because I think most fans would probably rather see all the best players in the world?
Yeah, I think, listen, the draft is a whole different animal these days. It's not what it used to be. So
yeah,
we'd be happy to host the draft. Same with All-Star. All-Star is not the same as it was when I was younger. But at the end of the day, we're keen to host NHL events. The question is, how do we fit them in? We've got World Juniors this coming Christmas here in Edmonton and Red Deer. And the following year, we're going to have the World Cup. So it's all about timing. We put in bids back in 2017 for both the draft and for the All-Star game. And so far, they just haven't worked out with everything else we got going on.
So when you put in the bid, does that say like every year? Like, does it turn over like once you put a bid, or do you have to rebid every year?
Yeah, they haven't asked us to rebid. I think we were pretty cocky when we did those bids back in those days. We were sold out. So, it really helps the teams that are looking to increase their fan base in the building. And at that time, we were full. So we'll probably have to rebid given the way our bids went in.
Oh, okay. So, and that's interesting that it's so, because when you bid for 1 year, like I thought, because you get a lot of teams that would bid, they'd say, okay, we don't get it this year, but maybe we'd like to have you the next year. Now, the All-Star game, of course, isn't like it is, because when there's an Olympics and when there's the World Cup, like there'll be an All-Star game in 27, and then there'll be an All-Star game in like there's not as many All-Star games as there once was. And the draft there, they went away from it for a while on location, and now it looks like they're going to come back to having it in the city. Are there other NHL events that you look at, or do you because I know the World Juniors isn't essentially an NHL event, but it's a pretty international event. Are international events just as important on your radar as an NHL event?
Absolutely. Yeah, multiple events, right? The thing is, you've got to do it when the NHL is on break. Otherwise, you're taking out season and you're putting a lot of pressure on your team, especially in the spring coming into playoff time. And teams like to be home as much as they possibly can coming into playoffs with the home audience. So for us, we're interested in looking at everything, and we do. I mean, we got to host the Heritage Classic in 2023 on the 20th anniversary, which was special for us. And so, we're not missing the fact that we haven't had the All-Star game, but we know that we will get one.
Stu Ballantyne joins us, the president and chief operating officer of the Oilers Entertainment Group. They will be hosting the semifinals and the finals of the 2028 World Cup of Hockey in Edmonton. Joint bid is Calgary will host one pool in the prelims, and Prague in Czechia will host the other one. Stu, when because I like to have you on talking kind of the business side of it a little bit, which is obviously what you focus on, and the numbers. What about the Oilers being a part of another European trip to start the NHL season? Does that? I know you guys did it. God, I can't remember that year. It was 19 or something. I know it was before COVID. I don't remember.
Germany and Sweden.
Yeah. Is that something that's on the horizon, or is that one where you'd be like, do you have to bid to that, or does the NHL approach you on that?
NHL approaches us. Those are 100% controlled by them. World Cup is still controlled by them, but at the end of the day, it's such a big event that they wanted us to bid. So everybody went in for bids. I think there was as many as 2/3 of the teams were initially in on that bid process.
What about and this is kind of different, but I know it follows under your because you oversee everything and all the different teams. What about the Memorial Cup coming to Edmonton? Is that how How does that bidding process work? And, you obviously have a very competitive team in the Oil Kings here. And I know that it works a few years around. There's every 3 years. But how is something like that ever been on the radar?
It has. We've looked at different ways to try and host Memorial Cup. But, of course, when you're a playoff team in the NHL, how do you give up, 9 days of dedicated time for the Memorial Cup? So, we've worked with the Oil Kings on that and tried to figure out different ways with the Western League and with the CHL. So far, we haven't been able to get it done. And right now, we're hot on NHL playoffs.
The only way it would happen then realistically is if you A, had another facility, like a 10,000 seat facility, or B, your team wasn't that good and you obviously probably don't want to think about the latter. So you'll focus maybe on the former. Because we're getting a lot of text, people wondering, has there ever been like serious discussions around a 10,000 seat facility?
Not necessarily with us. I mean, we're in the process of building a music hall next to the arena, and we've kind of focused in on our live entertainment versus another arena. We have 2 rinks right now in the facility, and that seems to be the best for us at this time. But hey, listen, junior hockey works really well in an arena that's, probably 5 to 7,500.
Right. Now, you mentioned the music hall. Is that going to be complete by the time the World Cup's here in 2028?
No, we'll be structure built, but we won't. That whole block will actually be cordoned off and still under construction at that time. We open hopefully in the spring of 2029.
Spring of 2029. And is it a 25-seat bowl? Is that correct? 2,500, not 25.
Probably a little bit bigger than that. We're still working on what the final size will be, but music halls that are being built right now are in that kind of 25 to 3,500.
And what's kind of the long-term vision of that bowl? Like, what do you foresee happening and hosting there? Like, obviously, you could probably have watch parties for the playoffs. I understand that. But from a music standpoint, what are you looking to fill that with?
This is, the arena itself, hey, listen, Rogers Place is a beautiful arena, but you put the key in the ignition, it's expensive. And this is for artists that are coming up. When they graduate out of a hall like the Starlight Room, where do they go next? And, for us, we can take concerts in that 5,000 seat range, but anything smaller than that, it doesn't make financial sense in the arena. So this is why we decided that we wanted to have a music hall. We've got that piece of property that has been, humming with all the things we're doing on Fan Park. So it'll have an indoor-outdoor component to it. So we'll still have the outdoor space. And the thoughts right now is that the stage will actually open up from inside the building and play to the outside on different events as well.
Oh, okay. Also, I know that there was an NLL game here, and the Rush were in town for 10 years, and I became a huge fan of lacrosse. I know that the NLL has been pretty clear about, down the road as they expand, they'd love to partner with existing NHL teams. And I know you've had conversations as a group with the NLL. Where are those at? Do you think an NLL team in Edmonton in the future is viable?
Hard to say, right? We've got a lot of dates, a lot of concert dates. We wanted to bring in the Unboxed event just to have a chance to play lacrosse in our building to help give us a bit more research. But right now, it's still a project on the back burner.
Okay, and circling back now to the World of Cup, have any idea, Stu, on when tickets would go on sale and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, to get it announced, there is a sign up that the NHL's put out today for people that are interested in getting ticket information. So if you want to go on the NHL site, I don't even have the address yet for it, but I think it's on their site to get people registered to come in and get their name on the list. They control that side of it. So
okay,
we'll be meeting with them obviously a lot in the next few weeks.
Okay, so they control it, but because that's as you can understand, that's probably the one question I get asked the most since it's been announced, because obviously fans want to go to the games and they're wondering, how can I get to the games? And if I'm a season ticket holder, does it decrease my chances? So you had mentioned earlier that you're fairly confident that, your season ticket holders, will have a pretty decent chance to get tickets. Is that fair?
I would say that's fair, right? From what we've heard, the All-Star game, really is all about the 32 teams plus the league.
Right.
Is a little different. So I think there's going to be a decent amount of tickets available for people. And we'll sort of unleash those things as we get more information from the league and from the PA.
Well, Stu, congratulations. A big event that'll be coming to Edmonton in 23 months from now. So you have a lot of time to plan, and we'll probably talk again in the future as things unfold around that. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Jason.
There you go. That's Stu Ballantyne, the president and COO, Chief Operating Officer of the Oilers Entertainment Group. So if you didn't know that if you go to the games, you drive downtown on 104th, you'll see the facility straight east of Rogers. That's where the Music Bowl is going to go. And originally I was told that they probably thought around 2,500 seats, but Stu has mentioned maybe closer to 3,000. So be a good kind of smaller venue, but any venue that if you fit 3,000 people into a music venue and it's sold out, it's going to be great. So I do like that you have an option for smaller shows. I still think in an ideal world in Edmonton, like if you got a 10,000 seat facility, you could always play the special Oil Kings games where, like the teddy bear toss and a few of their other annual events that, will fit 17,000, 18,000 fans. But if you had a 7,500 to 10,000 seat facility, you could host lacrosse there very successfully. You could host WHL there. You could probably home the PWHL there. No question. It's, I understand that there's money involved in it for sure. But when I look at, growing that area downtown, that other facility is something that, like, I think for decades, Edmonton has lacked kind of a secondary arena facility. And obviously I know it costs a lot of money, but there's lots of people with money. And I think it would make a lot of sense. Now, because the Oilers own the Oil Kings, they probably want to have the facility. I get all that. But I do wonder, about that down the road, if it's something that could come to fruition at all. Hey, Grace, can you ask why order tickets and concession prices have increased astronomically? JP. That's welcome to the sports world, JP. That is not something that is just in Edmonton when it comes to Canadian sports. I've been to Jays games. I've been to games in Toronto. I've been to games in Vancouver. It's expensive. And that sucks for the people that you kind of get priced out for some of the diehard fans. Yeah, I agree. I think it's brutal. There's no question about it. We will return. We got a lot of texts to get to. We'll hear from Connor McDavid. We got Spec, Oil Kings head coach Jason Smith, Cam Tate, and more in a busy Monday edition of the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
And here comes Action Electrical Service Team sprinting onto the scene. These are your first responders for any electrical emergency.
That's right. With their fleet of service vans and specialized gear, they assess, they service, and maintain electrical lighting and automation systems. They're all about rapid response.
Quick diagnostics and repairs to restore power and safety fast. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada. Properties include the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility in Nisku, features 2 sheets of ice, a 1,600-seat arena, as well as Summit Restaurant. Learn more at silentice.com.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
The Price is Right Live is at the Brick. Come on down to any Brick location for your chance to win over $300,000 in prizes. They're giving away shopping sprees, mattresses, appliance packages, big screen TVs, and so much more. Plus, this Saturday, play for up to $1,000 off your purchase. Everyone who makes a purchase is a winner. The price is always right at the Brick. The Brick, saving you more. Conditions apply. See in store for details.
Summer, It's coming. An unstoppable force that will turn your home into the Sweatbox.
Don't live in a summer blockbuster. Pro Solutions is your one-call solves-it-all expert for AC repairs, tune-ups, and new installations. With fast appointments and flexible financing, we'll make sure your home story has a comfortable ending. AC season is coming soon, so book today.
Lock in pre-season pricing today.
Visit prosolutionsinc.ca to schedule your service today.
Why should you drive a Subaru? How about durability, style, and an excellent customer experience from the moment you step into the showroom? And how about accolades, including awards for numerous 2026 Subaru models from both AutoTrader and JD Power? But don't just take my word for it. Take a test drive and you'll see why the Subaru name is recognized and renowned for quality. To learn more, visit Subaru.ca. Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 heating and cooling company for people who want heating and cooling, because you'll save a bundle by bundling. Then you can use hot, cold, hot, cold. Come on, thermostat, do what you're told. Turn up the heat, turn up the cold, so the vents stop pushing out tornadoes. Bundle my furnace with some AC. Gonna get a deal from Legacy! Oh, yeah. Save a bundle when you bundle your new furnace and AC from Legacy today. Plus no payments and no interest for 1 year. That's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Portions of this hour brought to you by CanTorque, made in Canada, made for Canada, where extreme isn't theoretical. Find your solution at CanTorque.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
As we roll through on a Monday afternoon, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show. Of course, some NBA action tonight, NHL action. If you watch the out-of-town scoreboard, games that impact the orders really tonight. There's the Kings game. And I guess in a roundabout way, maybe the Utah game, if you think the orders are going to end up being in a battle for the wild card spot, because Utah obviously can't impact the top 3 spots of the Pacific Division, but currently holds down the second wild card. They're in Dallas. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh, Detroit, Boston are all playing in that very tight race in the Eastern Conference. Bruins on the road in New Jersey, Penguins on the road in Colorado, and the Red Wings, and I would say a must-win game against the Calgary Flames tonight. The way the Red Wings are playing here lately, they've only won 3 of their last 10. They are now into the second wild card spot. They're only 1 up on Columbus, and they have a game in hand. They're 3 up on the Senators. They have a game in hand. Like, things are getting a little dicey in Detroit, in Motor City. So they got to get going. And the Pittsburgh Penguins, Crosby is not playing tonight, but you know what? They had said 4 weeks off the start. I know he's skating and everything, and that's all good, but like, there's certain injuries you can't rush them back, right? Because the guy comes back and boom, misses a game, and it's they're out of it. So Evgeny Malkin got suspended on the 5th. I think he's got 1 game left to sit out. So I think he joins them in Carolina. I got to double check that, but I think that's right for the Penguins, because he was out on the 5th. Yeah, this is oh no, he should be playing it. Actually, I think he's back in the lineup tonight because he sat out 5 games because he got suspended against Buffalo, right? Then he missed the Flyers game, the Bruins game, and then the first 3. Yeah, so they do get Malkin back tonight, so that'll be a boost for them. But no Crosby. They got to find a way to win games, man. They just have to. They've actually done fairly well without Malkin and Crosby in the lineup, so we will see. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Let's hear from Connor McDavid, the captain of the Edmonton Oilers, and just started off talking about his team and the kind of renewed commitment defensively.
Yeah, just a little bit more dug in, I guess. Yeah, the forward's been good, back checking. The D have been having good gaps and denying the line, and that's a big part of it.
We've had a few games now with Matt Savoy. Real quick, guys have connected. What have you liked about playing, and what have you noticed about his game now that you're playing alongside him?
I've just noticed like the energy he's been playing with. He's got lots of jump, lots of juice, keeping lots of pucks alive, getting in on the forecheck, and getting lots of pucks back. It's been really impressive.
He seems to make a lot of really good plays at high speed, like gets you the puck on your stick in speed and vice versa.
Yeah, it's been great. Yeah, it's been fun the last couple of games, getting the puck in great spots because of him. Getting the puck off the wall is not an easy thing to do. That's why the really good wingers are. It's as I said, it's a difficult thing to do, and he seems to do it really well.
Talk about the response your team had last night after Leon left the game pretty early.
Yeah, I obviously understand it's not the dirtiest check in the world, but it's just who you hit and the result of it. Unfortunate. You know, I liked the group's response.
Is there a after what happened in Toronto, there's been a lot of talk about response all through the league. Does that play a factor? Is that a heightened thing right now to respond when that happens to one of your best guys?
If you want to hit our top guys, there's going to be a response. Yeah, obviously there's been lots of talk about it with Toronto and stuff like that, but every group's different, and we didn't love the fact that he finished the hit so hard on Leo, and obviously Leo didn't feel very good after. So yeah, you gotta handle that.
You may have to play without him for a while. How do you kind of feel that void?
What's that?
You may have to play without Leo for maybe a little bit. How do you kind of fill that void?
You don't fill the void. The old cliches. It takes everybody, and everybody's gonna have to be better if that happens. Who knows what will happen?
What are the things that Leon brings? Like, we can see his work on the ice, but in the room when he's not playing, what are the things maybe that someone else is going to have to pick up?
The room?
Yeah, in the room, around the team, being a leader. What are the things we wouldn't know about?
Oh, we got lots of guys in here that can lead. We got lots of different guys that have a voice in here. Obviously, he's got a big one. If he's not playing for a little bit, or if he is, it doesn't matter. We need leaders this time of year, and we need our group to be lively and energetic, and that's with or without him in the lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, it'd be nice to play here in Canada, here in Edmonton, Calgary. We know how passionate the fans are. We see it, firsthand, most nights, and certainly in the spring. So I would expect them to be alive for that.
So this San Jose team, obviously it's an important game for you guys, but just being able to put some distance in there with a good, solid effort, like, it's a big opportunity.
Big opportunity, obviously. We didn't disappointed with what happened when last time we were in there. Felt like we, played well enough and kind of gave it away and found a way to lose a game. They're a really dangerous team, though. With that being said, they score lots of goals. It's a high event game. We got to do a good job of limiting that.
So that when you say high event with a team like that, it sort of reminds me of your team 5 years ago, trying to play high event hockey all the time. And the nights that you lost or you couldn't beat a good team is when it was a low event game quite frequently. Are you now the team that would rather play a lower event game?
For sure. We want to play a solid low event game, and yeah, that's obviously what we want to do.
Just go back to the World Cup. It was so long before you played best on best. Now it looks like every couple of years you're going to get an opportunity to do that. I guess. What is that? How does that change things? And how exciting is that? I guess
it's obviously exciting. Yeah, the last 2 years, obviously with the Four Nations and the Olympics this year, and another opportunity in the not so distant future. It's exciting. Yeah, really exciting.
Need another under 23 type team like you had last time that almost won the tournament?
No. No, they don't.
Think so?
No,
you don't
they
think
don't.
that they'll be that team?
No, I don't think so.
Connor, does it change for you from the Olympics? You play with Macklin, you really get to know him, right? And now you go up against him. And is it like a brother? Is there more of a will to want to beat a guy when you're good buddies and you have that respect and you know what he's capable of? Does it change kind of the dynamic for you?
Well, whether you know him or you don't, you got to defend him well. He's a great player, and obviously getting to know him, he's a great kid, and just does everything right. Really enjoyed my time playing with him and getting to know him. And with that being said, it's a big one for us tomorrow. And we got to find a way to limit him and their entire team. As I said, they're a high skill team. They score lots of goals, and we got to find a way to check.
Yeah, they got to find a way to check. And they've been better, right? Like, I thought McDavid's defensive game was outstanding last night. You look at, there was 3 separate backtracks, back check, whatever you want to call it, where he just thwarted the rush for Nashville. And it looked like it was dangerous. Nothing comes of it, and Edmonton goes the other way. And he wasn't the only one. I saw multiple guys at different times doing it. But when your best player does it, as Jason Dickinson told us earlier in the show, you have no choice at that point to follow. You have no choice. If your best guys are doing the little things, you have to, because they do the things that most of us can't do, his words. And that's score at that level. So if they're doing the little things, you're like, man, I know I can back check. I can backtrack. That's a will and a desire to do, right? So you get, if you don't have the skill to score like them, no one's expecting that. But you've got to have the desire. And the Oilers, you know what? Outside of the Dallas game, because that was a debacle, in their other 4 games out of the last 5, it's been pretty good. They've only allowed 9 goals in those 4 games. Okay, you'll take that. You'll take a 2.25 goals against any time, right? So if you can do that for a long period of time, your odds are winning pretty good. And they're 3-0-1 in those games. They probably played more than well enough to beat St. Louis. They didn't do it, but I think they really liked their overall game for the most part in that one. And now you take on San Jose. And San Jose, I had a scout tell me, when there's the San Jose Sharks with Macklin Celebrini on the ice, and then the San Jose Sharks without him. It's 2 very different teams. So when he's on there, you got to be aware. But the Oilers have a guy who still better than him, right? So, do you match up McDavid versus Celebrini? Or if you're Chris Knobloch, do you say Dickinson, Roslovic, Nugent Hopkins? You're going to get the Celebrini matchup, and then we're going to have McDavid go out against any of their other lines. We'll let them pick who we want him to play against. Because honestly, that would be a mismatch. Right? You want to put him up against Misa and Eklund and Toffoli? Sure. The Kurashev line? Yeah. Well, the Gaudette line, no brainer, right? So it'll be interesting to me to see. Like, that top line of Celebrini, Smith, and Graf has been pretty darn good. So you definitely have to respect them. And they don't really have a shutdown D pair. You got Orlov and Klingberg, Ferraro and McMadoulin, Dickinson and Desharnais. But no one's like, they don't have a staunch shutdown D pair. So I don't think they really worry too much about which defense pairs out against them. And the Oilers, if you can limit San Jose, but you heard earlier from Kevin Woodley, Ned's played great. He's played really well for the San Jose Sharks. And I know they didn't play him in the second half of back-to-back. Some people wondered why. I think it's because they're coming back to Edmonton, and you're not going to have him start 3 and 4. So they probably feel like, let's roll the dice, see what happens here in our second game, and then we'll go back to him in a pivotal game for the San Jose Sharks. They're right in the race. And if you're the Edmonton Oilers, you lose to the Sharks, well, suddenly they're 3 back with 3 games in hand. So it's a big game tomorrow night. We'll talk about that a lot more tomorrow. We'll hear from Celebrini and others on the show. We'll come back. Mark Spector, Jason Smith joins us, Tater as well in the 2-minute warning. So we get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. March Madness coming up on the court, but it's in the showroom at the brand new Autoplex, NorthgateGM.com. You're looking for great deals. No weak, lazy bargains for you. They just give you a sound, solid deal. NorthgateGM.com.
The Sports 1440 update.
The NHL announced today that Edmonton, Calgary, and Prague will host the 2028 World Cup of Hockey. It'll include 8 nations and be held mid-season in February. On the ice in the NHL tonight, Red Wings hosting the Flames, got the Bruins and Devils, Rangers, Kings, Mammoth, and Dallas, and the Avs hosting the Pittsburgh Penguins. On the hard court, Warriors taking on the Wizards, the Hawks will host the Magic, Suns meet the Celtics, Bulls up against the Grizz, the Mavs, Pelicans, Rockets, Lakers, and the Spurs in LA taking on the Clippers. World Baseball Classic tonight, Venezuela taking on Italy at 6. The winner of this one gets the United States in the final tomorrow. And at the Women's World
Curling Championships. Canada defeated Denmark 9-6 down in Calgary. Currently tied for top spot with a 4-0 record. Up next for Canada is Italy tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. And from the NFL, Pro Bowl corner Darius Slay announcing his retirement after 13 seasons. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet, the head coach of the Edmonton Oil Kings, Jason Smith, and we'll hear another edition of Campaig's 2-Minute Warning. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth. Fast, easy, and totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text value to 780-777-7777 to start. That's value to 780 all sevens. Why guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Great news for your weekend project. CFI, that's Custom Floors Inc., is now open 6 days a week with Saturday hours from 10 till 2. Get top quality Canadian products from Beaulieu with the convenience you need. For your free estimate, visit CFI at customfloorsinc.ca.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Who's that working on the underground utilities over there? All Star Construction, that's who. What about the street lighting? Yep, All Star Construction. And the directional drilling, hydrovacking, neighborhood renewal, and telecommunication work? Yep. And yep. Since 2009, All Star Construction has been doing all that and more, shaping and building Edmonton communities for land developers all around Edmonton. That's what All Star Construction is all about.
Do you work for a company that wants to reach people who love
Sports 1440
Or maybe you're looking to hire people who love sports. Sports
Nuge is obviously pretty
partners
reliable
with
defense.
dozens of local businesses, connecting with tens of thousands of Edmonton sports fans every day.
Sports 1440,
on the radio, on the
1440.ca,
listening apps, on YouTube, and on
Gregor
social
Show.
media. Contact our sales team today to see what Sports 1440 can do for you. Email Gregor at sports1440.ca to get started.
NHL Star Sticks are back in McDonald's, and we're celebrating by going bigger.
Make that smaller, way smaller than ever before.
Collect the set and get one of 7 mini sticks with every NHL Star Sticks meal. Featuring McDavid, Matthews, Quinn Hughes, Makar, Celebrini, Reinhardt, and Montembeau. So get yours while they last. 1 stick per meal purchase. Limited time at participating Canadian restaurants.
Portions of this hour brought to you by 01 Athletic Care. Injuries don't wait, and neither should you. 01 Athletic Care offers one-stop access to doctors, x-rays, and casting. It's expert musculoskeletal care covered by Alberta Health right here in West Edmonton Mall. Move from injury to recovery. Book now at 01.ca. That's ZERONE.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 5 o'clock. Might I give to that Flintstone horn? Get that on. Get you in a good mood. Yabba dabba doo. The work day is through for you. As you make your way home, take a little breather. Don't borrow your wife's car and then get a car ding, eh, Brownie? That's Wendy's gonna be fired up right now. So try not to ding anybody's car in the parking lot, especially at work, right? That'd be, man, a coworker just dings your vehicle. Oof, it's a tough one. You got to walk into work the next day, bro. You're like, oh my God, did they know? Did they not know? It's never good. Never good. If you ding it, own up to it for sure. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where, of course, casino, live dealer, lottery, instant sports, all in one place at PlayAlberta.ca, including the Jason Gregor Show specials. We got a little Colorado Dallas for you, as well, even some NBA hoops for Declan Kruger. So check out those picks at PlayAlberta.ca. Let's get to the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. And at GS, they are hiring right now. Top men, pipe layers, operators. If that's you, man or woman, they're looking for you. Apply today, gsconstruction.ca, and look up careers as Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. And Spec, the Edmonton Oilers, I would say 4 of the last 5 pretty good defensive efforts by them.
Yeah, for sure. Certainly in Ingram's last 5 starts, they've got better goaltending, but they've also played way better defensively, right? I think they're 4-0-1 in his last 5 starts, and they've given up 9 goals. So, that's what it takes. I kind of feel like with Draisaitl being out of the lineup, the bad news is you're never better when you don't have Draisaitl, and no one's saying you are. But if it causes your team to buckle down and focus more on defense a little bit, that's the direction this team always needs to go at this time of year. So let's see what happens, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, Ingram, he played well. It's a controlled environment, but I thought, like, the Oilers, I know they made some tweaks to their defensive system, specifically in their own zone. They collapsed a little bit more tighter to the net, but they're backtracking. That's just effort. There's no system out there. It's like, hey guys, don't backtrack. Like, of course not. And you're seeing a significant improvement in that the last few years.
Yeah, the tracking for sure, and just the being careless with the puck high in the offensive zone. The guy making the giveaway when there's 3 guys trapped down low, and you make a giveaway and it's a 3-on-1 or a 2-on-1 or whatever. Just not seeing that, and that's like the Oilers. I just saw a stat today where since the Olympic break, they're top 5 team in the league in expected goals against. That's expected goals. We all know the issue in Edmonton. A lot of times there's goals going in that shouldn't go in. But my point would be, they've got a way of sometimes giving up chances that the other team doesn't have to work real hard for. The other team's trying to. They're going to get chances. They're going to get goals. Like, that's the sport. But the Oilers can sometimes play a game where they hand away a 2-on-1 that the other team didn't have to do much to get. And it always starts by eliminating the freebies and then figuring out the rest of the chances, right? But you can't give up the free chance. And I think we watched an Oilers team that's kind of stopped that lately, and that's good news for them.
Yes. Freebies, Spec, have talked about it. You can't play Santa Claus in the National Hockey League and expect to win on a regular basis. It does not work. So we'll see. The last night, of course, outside of the win, the only negative is Leon Draisaitl leaves the game, comes back, tries it in the first period, and then shut her down for the second and the third period. Chris Knobloch didn't give us any much news on it. I was told today this is more short term than long term for Leon Draisaitl. That's good news, but I could see him out for a week.
Yeah, I could see him out for the rest of his homestand for sure. I think they open up Tuesday in Utah. So a week from tomorrow in Utah is where they start a 2-game road trip. They go Utah, Vegas on a quick trip. If he didn't play before Utah, I don't think I'd be surprised by the sounds of things. Let's see. Like, we've been through this with injuries, man. And sometimes they say it's going to be short and it's long. And, I don't trust them. I'll be honest with you. I never trust them. So I think what he said last night that really rung true, however, was the fact that the medical staff said, yeah, you can go back and try that. Go back and try, see if you can play. If he had if they thought that there was any kind of real damage, they would have shut him down. So hopefully for Leon, he only misses a few games here to get him back. The power play doesn't look much, we all like Podkolzin, but when it comes to power play, I like it better when Draisaitl's on it.
Well, yeah, Podkolzin was in the right spot last night. He just Draisaitl puts it in the top half of the net, and it's a goal, right? And Podkolzin,
guy made a great save.
Yeah, he made a great save, but the whole upper net was wide open, right? And Draisaitl, that's the difference between a 50-goal scorer and a 20-goal score. When you get the good chances, you bury it in the back of the net. It's not Podkolzin's fault. He's not there yet. He's worked a lot on his one-timers, as we saw there. But to me, the bigger story is the fact that Matt Savoy here has earned himself a look in the top line and is not going anywhere anytime soon. Knobloch, when I asked him about that, he goes, yeah, you know what? Even when we're healthy, I see no reason to take Matt off that line. He likes him. I talked to Connor about it with the mic on and then more so with it off. And just, Savoy's speed is something, and his ability to make plays at high speed spec is the most impressive part for the youngster.
Yeah, it's a different dynamic than Nugent Hopkins on that line, right? It's just he's a different player. A team needs some change. It can't just run out the same team every year, every time. I think this is good when a young player comes up and takes an important role and runs with it. And now you redeploy Nugent Hopkins somewhere and someone else gets a fresh line mate. I think that's good for a team. I don't believe in the same lines all season or, we won last year with these lines, so they got to stay the same. Nah, not at all. So, and I guess the last thing I'll say is through the lens of the Ryan McLeod for Matt Savoy deal here. Ryan McLeod's having a nice season in Buffalo, and I hear a lot of things from Buffalo. Oh boy, what a great trade we made, and that's so awesome. Well, Savoy's younger and cheaper, and he hasn't got to near his peak yet. So that, to me, that trade is still, you can't judge that trade yet. I'm watching Matt Savoy, kind of his stock is rising here. So good player, fast player, young player, I'll take him every day.
I think you can say it. It's a trade that works out for both teams, point blank, right? Like at different, and it doesn't mean that it's going to be even every year and whatever, but Buffalo got what they wanted. Edmonton got what they wanted. And now the guy that Edmonton got was going to take a little longer to develop, but he's also cheaper in a salary cap world and yada, yada, yada. So I think trades
right now. Buffalo needs some right now, eh?
Yeah. And the trade doesn't always have to be a winner and a loser. Like you can have a good trade where both teams are like, hey, this helped us, this helped them, great. Right. And more importantly, both players like Ryan McLeod wouldn't have gotten the opportunities in Edmonton or that he's getting in Buffalo just because there's no Leon Draisaitl or Connor McDavid in Buffalo. Right. Like it's just, so sometimes you need we had Todd Marchand on. He said, man, sometimes an organization, it's not, you don't even play bad, or sometimes you do, and you go somewhere else and it works because timing and opportunity aren't always the same from every organization.
Well, I think Marchand's a great example, right? He ended up with the Ducks and won a cup down there. Marchand and Cogliano kind of went the same route, didn't they? They were top 6 players here, and they went to a good team. And became bottom 6 players that took on different roles. And you're right. They both helped their teams win, man. Cogliano was a good Duck for a long time. And so was Toddy Marchand. I'll never forget it. I was in the dressing room after that game when they beat Ottawa. And geez, I think it was a 5-game series.
Yeah, 5 games in 2007. Yep.
Yeah. Remember his mom hugged me so hard. She almost took my glasses right off my head. She was so excited. She just saw some guy from Edmonton that she knew, and oh my gosh, she was happy. But anyway.
Probably the first and only parent that did hug you, eh, Spec?
Oh boy, I'm not telling you it happens every day.
Very true. I know it's some people. I think the Oilers missed Ty Emberson. I just think he solidified that third pair a lot more than we think.
Well, I think that at this point, he's a better player than Spencer Stastny. So, I think I'm not here to rip on Spencer Stastny.
No.
At this point in their careers, Ty Emberson's a better player. So you downgrade a little bit there. So yeah, they miss him. And he's quietly become, almost, I'm not saying he's Brett Kulak yet, like he's got a ways to go. But Ty Emberson has quietly become a guy that doesn't get a lot of points, but you can count on him, and he's figured out how to kill some penalties, and he's become a steady Eddie guy. And for what they paid for him from San Jose, that's one of those quiet Stan Bowman trades. We talk about the ones he's made that hasn't worked out. Ty Emberson's worked out. He's been a pretty good little player here, I think.
Oh, yeah. And, he's not on LTIR yet, so that's good news, but he's also not skating with the team yet. So, he's going to miss at least 6 games. Then I do wonder maybe when they get to game 7 and they're like, he's not ready yet, that maybe then you put him on LTIR and you could call up Regula, who's starting to play. And I texted some person down there, scouts and watches, and they're like, man, like Regula's, I can see why the Oilers were probably happy to get him through waivers, because no Oilers fans would be like, this guy can't play. I'm like, yeah, the guy hasn't played hockey, people. I never loved the guy can't play because guy's playing, a few games in a year and suddenly isn't very good. But he's played pretty well down there lately for them, and I'll be curious to see if that continues.
Well, and you need, this is a team. I know some people will say you're crazy, but this is a team planning on a long playoff run. And you need 8 or 9 defensemen to make a long playoff run. And Regula's probably the what on this team? Is he the number?
Well, he might be the number 7, because if you lose a right shot spec, I think I'd rather have Regula than force guys to play their off wing, because Wallman's better on the left than he is on the right. I think that's clear.
Yep. Yeah. So, and Regula, you're right. Like, he's that guy who missed a bunch of time. He came back. He was way better than we thought he'd be right away. But then he started to sit out and his game lacked, and he started, he couldn't. It's really hard to ask a young player to play that number 7 role where you play once every week and a half. Like, that's a tall order, man. So, you tell me he's gone to Baco and he's playing well because he's playing every night. That doesn't surprise me one bit. So who doesn't like a player that's a right shot, 6'3", 4 guy, big, strong cat, skates the puck okay? Like, I don't know. I don't think the jury should be back on Alec Regula yet. Do you?
No, God, no. It's a very young player, and who knows what he'll become. I honestly can't say for certain, but you see the potential there, and you want potential. Hey, no one thought Josh Szymanski was going to be a player. Look at these seasons he's had. Like, look at Josh Szymanski's spec. Like, and I think the fact that they didn't move any of the other lines tells me that Draisaitl is short term, because even last night in the game, he kept the Nugent Hopkins, Dickinson, Roslovic line. He wanted to keep that one. He kept the McDavid line. Then he kind of moved guys in with Kapanen and Podkolzin. And so tomorrow it's going to be Szymanski. And while Szymanski doesn't bring you a lot of offense, the coach clearly trusts him in his defensive decision making.
Well, it's like the hockey cliche is, you can't. Connor said it today. One guy doesn't make up for Leon. Everybody has to pitch in. Blah blah blah. It's true. It's a cliche because it's true. But inside of that, there's young guys that get opportunity. All of a sudden, 22, Savoy's up on the wing with the big boys. And that's this is a big opportunity, and he's doing something with it. And all of a sudden, Szymanski's getting 3rd-line minutes at center, not 4th-line minutes. And you know what? All of a sudden, he starts playing better. And now when Draisaitl does get back, maybe you got at least 2 young players who've got a little bit more footing, right? They're a little bit ready, more confident. And when the playoffs come and it's time that you need a shift from somebody, you're more likely to get it because of this 2 weeks or whatever Draisaitl misses. Listen, something bad happened to your team. One of your best guys got hurt. You might as well try to dig something positive out of it at the same time, right?
Oh, God, yeah, for sure. Mark Spector joins us. One last one, Spec. What did you make? Because a lot of people, Connor McDavid said it today. If you're going to hit our best players, guess what? We'll handle it ourselves. And, that's what they did. And, people be like, I don't like Frederick's penalty. I always say this. I always find when you get a penalty for trying to stand up for your teammate, I guarantee you the kill-off rate is like 98%. It's right. They always seem to kill those penalties off. And then Wallman got him with the big hit later on that was clean, and that's fine. And hey, good for Ozzy. I will say this, good for Ozzy Wise, but it wasn't a dirty play by any stretch of the imagination. I understand why the Oilers reacted the way, because it's one of their best players, and he ends up a hit pointer or whatever the injury is going to be, knee. I have no idea specifically, but I just look at how they reacted, and I'm not sold, Spec, that reaction would have been there 2 months ago.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. This thing with the Leafs went through the league, I guarantee you. Every dressing room in the league talked about how, Gudas took out Matthews' knee. Did you see that play last night? Oh, boy. And did you see there was no reaction? Like, that's That's something that every dressing room in the league, when they're dressing before a practice, when they're sitting around their breakfast bar, when they're, in the old days when they're having a beer together, I don't know if they do that anymore. Everybody talked about it. And the league is on heightened awareness. We don't want to look like the Leafs looked when their guy went down. Now, Edmonton's not been that team. I mean, I could think of a couple times that when the goalies got run, like Ingram got run by McKinnon the other day and nobody did squat. I think they were everyone was so taken aback at the massive collision.
Yeah, and the fact that Nurse did touch him. So
okay, sure. So anyway, listen, I'll just say this. It's tricky with a guy like Weisblatt because he's so small, like he's not going to drop him with Frederick, If Nick Hague throws that hit, he turns around and he knows I'm dropping him with somebody who's coming. Little guys like Weisblatt, he was a pesky guy last night, man. He was running all over the place, and to his credit, like he had his fingerprints all over that game last night.
Yeah.
So the Oilers beat him up by attrition. Like Frederick took a run at him, and other guys, Kapanen took a little run at him, and finally Wolman had him lined up and pasted him, and that's fine with me. I wouldn't complain a bit the way the Oilers handled that last night.
Yeah. Spec, we will chat with you tomorrow when the Oilers and the Sharks. Young Macklin celebrating. Here's a fun little stat that if you don't know, and kudos to like Nails or one of the texters sent me in a screen capture from the Sharks broadcast, and I looked it up. And yes, indeed, Macklin Celebrini, he scored his 50th road point of the season on the weekend. That's a Sharks record for most points on the road in a season with 50. Joe Thornton had 49 and 48, but Celebrini has 50, and they've still got 8 road games left. So that just illustrates the kind of season this young kid's having at 19 years of age.
Oh, boy. And remember, like when Jumbo played down there, those were good Sharks teams. Those teams were Western Conference final teams. We all thought they'd win a cup. They never did. But this San Jose team, when they come to your town, you know that the other team is focused completely on number 71. So for him to do that is a telling stat, man. He's unreal. It's going to be fun tomorrow night. Looking forward to seeing that team. They got to be tired. They got a killer road trip, Jay. They go Boston, Buffalo, Montreal, Ottawa, and then on the way home, they stop and play Edmonton. So these guys have been through. The plane
couldn't fly all the way from Montreal to San Jose. It had to refuel. So
I guess. Anyway, they were, you know what? They were here today. And you know how I know how? I was waiting in line at Tim Hortons, and there's a big guy dressed in black in front of me, and he grabbed his coffee, and he turned around. It was Vinny Desharnais. He put his hand on and said, "Hey, Spec."
Oh, big dude, man. Big dude. Great guy, too. Vinny's a really good dude.
Oh,
awesome stuff, Spec. We will chat with you tomorrow. Have a good one.
All right.
There you go. That's Mark Spector, the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. Man, it's former Oiler Day. We had Todd Marchand on. Now we got Jason Smith coming up next, the head coach of the Oilers.
The house, a gas station, an apartment complex, or any new building going up above ground, the work always starts below ground. And that's where you'll find GS Construction. GS Construction ensures the first step, relocating utilities, installing new ones, and building the underground systems, is taken to make progress possible. But the work can't start without you. GS Construction is currently on the lookout for experienced top men, pipe layers, and operators. To apply, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Summit Restaurant, located in the heart of the Silent Ice Center and just minutes from South Edmonton Common. Summit is your destination for exceptional house-made pizza, delicious entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails. Experience the perfect blend of flavor and ambiance in a modern setting. Join us for a straightforward yet elevated dining experience where our commitment to quality speaks to every bite and sip. Make Summit Restaurant your next night on the town.
When life unexpectedly changes, it can leave us feeling unbalanced, uncertain, and unsure of how to move forward. But you don't have to go through it alone. I'm Corey Anderson with Fairway Divorce Solutions. Our team helps reestablish balance, guiding you through your divorce with compassion, clarity, and support. Fairway has helped more than 6,500 families across Canada find a path towards a peaceful, fair resolution. With 2 offices in Edmonton, we're here to make your journey easier. Discover your options at Fairway Divorce.
Expand your brand with Fusion Promo Marketing. Fusion is your trusted partner for all things branded merch and apparel. Thousands of products perfect for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
The Price is Right live at the Brick. Come on down to any Brick location for your chance to win over $300,000 in prizes. They're giving away shopping sprees, mattresses, appliance packages, big screen TVs, and so much more. Plus, this Saturday, play for up to $1,000 off your purchase. Everyone who makes a purchase is a winner. The price is always right at the Brick. The Brick, saving you more. Some conditions apply. See in store for details.
Sherwood Honda is home of the GOAT. That's their greatest offer all time. And they have plenty of pre-owned GOATs that they got on a trade. Every used vehicle they sell goes through a 182-point inspection and comes with a vehicle history report. Because peace of mind is an essential part of getting your GOAT. And Sherwood Honda sure would want you to buy with complete confidence.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Welcome back. Monday afternoon. Man, what a great show. Flying by. Hope you're having a lovely day as you make your way home. Who knows? Maybe you're on the night shift. Maybe you're making your way to work. Well, wherever you are, if you're working the night shift, good for you. Keep the world going around. So thank you very much. And we got a sobering stat we're going to talk about a little bit. Maybe tomorrow on the show. So something that I think we all as parents and people need to be aware of because it's a pretty brutal stat. So we'll get to that maybe on our stat of the day. Now, though, let's get to the Oil King Report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home of the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Don't wait till it breaks down. Get it fixed now. Get some service at legacyheating.ca. The Edmonton Oil Kings have officially secured third place in the Eastern Conference. They got 89 points. The Calgary Hitmen can't catch them because they have fewer regulation wins. So they will be, it looks like most likely they'll be facing Saskatoon unless somehow the Blades win all their remaining games and Brandon loses all their remaining games this week. But otherwise, it's an Oil King Blades first round matchup that will begin next week. And the head coach of the Oil Kings, Jason Smith, joins us once again. Coach, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing?
Very good. Thanks for having me.
So, Jay, you've locked in third place for sure. So you got 3 games left, and there's always the balance of, you want to go in the playoffs playing well. You want to rest some guys. Are there some guys you feel need rest, or because you have a full week from when the regular season's over, at least 5 days until the playoffs begin, that you're like, no, I want my guys to play? What's the strategy this week?
Yeah, no, I mean, we'll talk. We've talked about it the last couple of days leading into the last couple of games here, and we'll kind of evaluate as we go. I think it's important for the guys to play games, especially with kind of almost a full week after the last game before we get back into the mix in the playoffs. I think it's a fine line to find whether you need to play or whether a little bit of rest is good. But you want to make sure those practice days leading into the playoffs are meaningful and important, and the guys are rested and ready to go. So we'll continue to mix and match with that those thoughts and see where they go.
So how do you kind of summarize how you feel your team's playing here as of late? You had a big win over Wenatchee, had a really good game against PA, was tight. You beat Brandon, maybe a tough loss in Calgary. But overall, how would you feel your team's played here down the stretch?
No, I mean, I think our group is playing well. I think we've even in last night's game, I think we created a lot of offensive chances and didn't capitalize. But I think, obviously we want to tighten up our special teams and get them dialed in. And then when it comes down to our 5-on-5 game, we're creating opportunities. I think we can clear up our finishing around the net a little bit more and hopefully capitalize on some of the chances we're creating. We're creating lots of opportunity. We just need to be a little better at putting them in the back of the net, and everything will be good.
The Max current news obviously isn't great. The injury's done for the year. Like he was one of your best players, Jason. Now I know he's been out for a while, so maybe it's easier to overcome. But you talk about struggling to score. It's noticeable at times over a longer period of time when you miss one of your top players.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Max is an elite player and was an elite player in this league, and when you lose a player like him, it's an adjustment period for your group. But I mean, I think every team has to deal with missing players, and whether it's short term or long term throughout a year. And then once the playoffs start, it's a whole different season. It's about the teams that are dialed in the most and are willing to compete longer and harder and execute at a higher level than other groups. So we're excited about where we're at as a group and looking forward to the playoffs. But we got 3 games between the start of that, and we're going to look to fine tune our game and probably get some younger guys an opportunity to play a little bit more and get a feel for what the league is like and see where it goes from there.
Jason Smith joins us. So, Jason, knowing that there's like a 98% chance you're taking on the Saskatoon Blades, how much advanced scouting do you do, or do you wait until the regular season's over?
No, I mean, I think as a staff, our group is kind of started preparing just basically kind of last week, and kind of knowing that the numbers percentages were getting higher and higher that we're going to play a certain team, and the chances of playing somebody else were different. But we've been putting together, some packages and just different aspects of when we've played those teams throughout the year where we've had success, things we've done that we've had success against them and done well, and where they've maybe created opportunities against us, things we maybe need to tighten up a little bit, whether it was based on structure or, kind of just luck or individual plays, or whether it was something that it was a team type thing that we can tighten up. So, we're working at that. And as a group, our staff is, dialed in, and we're preparing for whatever we can expect moving forward.
Having played for as long as you did, I think you realize, like, in the playoffs, matchups matter way more, right? Like during the regular season, you're kind of focused on your team and, these guys do a little thing, but you can really dig deeper. As a coach now, how much do you like that matchup? Because I remember, a lot of the players talked about in 2006 that you're like, man, McTavish came up with the strategy, like a game plan. It really worked for us, especially against Detroit, right? That was different in how you'd played a lot of the time in the regular season. Do you feel like coaching in a way in the playoffs you can have more of an impact in the game?
Well, I think you always have to look at the players you have and the type of group you have, and whether they're a group that is, really structured based and buys into doing things and competing one way and executing at a high level, or you got a team that can adjust on the fly. I think,
okay.
You want to kind of try and find that mix where, you can make some adjustments and we fiddled around with some few things over the last, stretch of games, and doing a few different things in our system, and just giving the guys a chance to have a bite at it and see if they could, pick it up and, take it to the ice. And, that's all about, learning as a group and growing as a group, and just having that kind of in your back pocket is something that we want to be able to do. Is if we need to make, some fine tweaks that the guys have, seen it and experienced it, and now they can take it to task again.
At this age, Jay, can you kind of tell, because not every player is going to be a hockey savant, right? I'm sure as you played with some guys, man, their work ethic's off the charts, but not everybody thinks or sees the game at the same level. When you throw that to your young players, you're kind of just excited to see how they'll react and how they'll handle the change.
Yeah, no, I think that's what junior hockey is, and that's what coaching young people is about, is seeing how they react and seeing who can pick it up, and who can really take to task what you're teaching. And that's something that as a coach you you really like to see. And then you also like to see where your group at to see if the whole group can do it. Cause it's tough to just say one line, go out and play one way and you 3 other lines play another way. It's like, you got to be able to find that happy mix between your group and then take it to the ice and go out and play. I think, our group is very coachable. They want to get better. They want to learn the game. And, it's something that's great about being around here with the Oil Kings is these guys are, young players that, want to get better, want to learn, and want to have success.
For you, you know what? It's after many years of being in the pros. Now, I know you were in the WHL before, Jay, as a head coach, but then you went to the AHL. Now you come back, and it's kind of the end of your first year back in junior. What have you liked about it maybe more that you forgot as far as being a head coach in the WHL?
Well, I think just really enjoying the growth in players. I think, at the pro level, you're kind of at task of getting players better to move on. And in junior, there's a good chance you're going to have players for a period of time and watch them grow. I mean, seeing the way, some of our guys have taken steps and in their game on the ice, as well as, just that, being a little more mature away from the rink has been special this year. And it's just a lot of fun to be around. My staff is a real good group of guys, and we come to the rink every day, and we can laugh and we can be critical, but then at the end of the day, we're all leaving in a good spot, and that's it's a little less hectic than being in pro hockey, that's for sure.
Well, Jay, always good to catch up with you. Enjoy the final week. Wednesday at home against Calgary, on the road in Lethbridge, and then wrap up the regular season on Sunday. And then you'll prepare for starting at home against Saskatoon. And the playoffs are always great. The intensity ratchets up. The crowd ratchets it up. Enjoy. It should be a lot of fun.
Well, thank you for having me. Take care.
You betcha. That's Jason Smith, head coach of the Oil Kings. And I forgot to tell him he owes Tater money still. So next time we get him on, we'll have to ask him. So Tater sent me a note, and I forgot to mention it, that supposedly Gator still owes him money from the Philadelphia trip. I'll have to remember if Gator has a good memory or not. We'll have to find out. Or Cam was probably just making that up. We'll have to see. Let's come back. Cam Tate will join us next on the 2-minute warning. It's the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Action Electrical Solar Team is now making a play for sustainability and savings. They're specialists in powering up for a greener future.
That's the strategy, designing and installing high-efficiency solar panels. They're helping homes and businesses combat rising utility costs by harnessing the power of the sun.
A smart move for efficiency and the environment. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
A huge thank you for making Sports 1440 the most listened to sports radio station in Edmonton. From Gregor to Curious to Low Tide, we've got in-depth analysis on all your favorite sports. We are Sports 1440.
The Price is Right Live is at the Brick. Come on down to any Brick location for your chance to win over $300,000 in prizes. They're giving away shopping sprees, mattresses, appliance packages, big screen TVs, and so much more. Plus, this Saturday, play for up to $1,000 off your purchase. Everyone who makes a purchase is a winner. The price is always right at the Brick. The Brick, saving you more. Conditions apply. See in store for details.
Being a living organ donor is a noble, life-changing act. But there's more than one way to be a hero. Join the Living Donor Circle of Excellence. As an employer, you can give the gift of time and remove financial barriers to make employee donations easier. You'll earn recognition, a raised corporate profile, employee satisfaction, and of course, be a huge part in saving lives in desperate need. Support the sacrifice of living donors. Discover how to join the Living Donor Circle of Excellence program today at kidney.ca.
Every goal,
every Selly. The place to cheer on your favorite team is Selly's Sports Bar and Lounge. Never a bad seat in the house, with all games on tons of big screens. And Selly's menu, top shelf. Plus, check out the game night food and drink features. And don't miss the excitement of Oilers watch parties all season long. Experience Selly's Sports Bar and Lounge at all 3 Century Casino locations: Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile.
Every day is game day at Century Casino.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. The Oilers' push to the playoffs is on, and OTR is ready to be your hockey headquarters. $5.75 Molson Canadian, 69-cent wings, and play score and win every game. See more at OnTheRocksYEG.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Get in the game, or if you like Lotto Max, how about $40 million up for grabs tomorrow night? Get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca. And the Boston Bruins in a fight for their playoff lives. They're up 2-0 over the Devils as David Pastrnak gets his 25th. Pavel Zacha has his 20th. And meanwhile, Detroit and Calgary nearing the end of the first period, no score. Also on the road, another team that needs a win after one period, the Kings leading the Rangers 1-0 low event game. Only 8 shots for the Kings, 6 shots for the Rangers in that one. And that's what the LA wants. They want low event hockey. The Kings enter tonight's action in 9th place. They're in 10th place, 2 back of Seattle. So a win tonight would move them into a tie with Seattle, but the Kings aren't going to beat anybody in a tiebreaker. The Kings only have 17 regulation wins. Seattle has 25. So you're not going to catch them right in regulation wins between now and the end of the season. So you're just going to have to flat out beat them in points, but they would move 1 point ahead of the Sharks. The Sharks would then have 2 games in hand on the Kings and 1 game in hand on the Kraken. Also, Utah playing tonight. They just announced Stenlund is out of the game. For them, they're taking on the Dallas Stars, and Pittsburgh is in Colorado. Let's get to the 2-minute warning. Brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. No overtime charges. That's how you build a legacy at legacyheating.ca. Cam Tate, longtime journalist in town. Cam, of course, born with cerebral palsy. He's in a wheelchair, never lets him slow him down. He's always wanted to be on radio. And now, through the wonders of technology, his words come to life in the 2-minute warning.
Part 9 of 10. 1 week ago, I got a new assignment on the big stage, covering 2026 Paralympic ice hockey. The Americans, I knew they were a good team, really good. But honestly, I had no idea they were this dominant. Now I know. I saw it myself. As a Canadian, I felt every crushing moment. Canada, reluctantly settling for their 3rd Paralympic silver medal, fell hard, 6-2. Sunday afternoon's gold medal game delivered a tough loss that stung. The score tells part of the story, but what happened on the ice? That was a masterclass in total domination by the Americans. No question about it. Blazing speed met relentless forechecking that never stopped. Their defense? Rock solid and tighter than Gregor's wallet on a Friday night. Here's a stat that'll blow your mind. In the preliminary round, the Americans gave up just 17 shots. That's right, 17. Not goals. No. Shots. Honestly, looking at that juggernaut, I can't help but wonder, did the Canadians actually lose the gold medal game hours or even days before Sunday's puck ever dropped? Did the heavy weight of that American machine beat them in the locker room before they put their gloves on? With wins of 8-0, 1-0, and 4-1, I felt they lost a step in their 4-1 semifinal win against China, a team they handily beat 7-0 this past December. But I also know this about the red and white. The Canadians aren't just sitting around licking their wounds. They're focusing, not tomorrow, but right exactly now, 4 years down the road. They've set their sights squarely on the 2030 Paralympics in the snowy peaks of the French Alps. Remember this moment. Remember this pain. It's fuel for the work ahead. They'll grind, they'll push, and in 4 years, they'll get their big chance. World, consider yourself warned. Canada's coming back strong. Tomorrow, meet the Team Canada Para Ice Hockey Team Equipment Manager, who considers himself part equipment manager, part engineer, part mechanic, and part MacGyver. 2-minute warning, weekday afternoons, Gregor, Hallie, Kruger. How many 100 cups of coffee have you had today? This is Cam Tate, Sports 1440.
Well, look forward to that interview tomorrow with the MacGyver of the team. That should be really good. I do want to get to the Jason Dickinson clip again, Cons. We had played it earlier. We had a lot of people texting in about it. So I think Dickinson, listen to him describe, the commitment to defense and how you're going to win. And I know a lot. It was funny to me on the trade deadline when people talk about, they got Dickinson and Murphy. And then I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, they filled glaring holes for their team. And you look at if Dickinson, Nugent Hopkins, and Roslovic stick as a line for a while, and who knows, maybe Roslovic and Kapanen might switch at times. I don't think it's going to matter that much. Right? I do think Roslovic's probably a little bit better all around offensively, so I could see him maybe back with Draisaitl at some point. And Kapanen can easily play that role. It's on the penalty kill, right? So it might make sense to actually play him there. I wouldn't be surprised to see that switch. And, then you kind of go with duos. But Dickinson, I think, just when you listen to him talk and the pride he takes in the defensive side of the game, that becomes infectious for lots of other players. Now, it starts with other guys too. And as I mentioned it, I thought McDavid, in the St. Louis game especially, definitely last night, he scored a lot of points, obviously. But his backtracking and back-checking and positioning, I thought, was very good. And Savoy's always been pretty solid, I think, defensively. But here's Dickinson again. I just want him talking about the commitment to defense and how far it will go.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is due to checking habits and tracking, getting above quickly, keeping them hemmed into the zone. And honestly, the easiest defense is good offense. So the more time you spend in the O zone, the less time they have with the puck. It's going to usually bode well for you. And back to the tracking, guys have been getting above really well. It creates a great opportunity for D-men to step, create good gaps, and turn pucks over so that we can transition quickly and get back on the offense.
San Jose is maybe a little ahead of the Chicago team you left, but they're both young teams that probably want to play higher event hockey. And generally the way to beat that team is to play lower event hockey. Is that, is this the veteran team? To beat San Jose, do you have to play, maybe less exciting hockey?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that's a fair assessment. Macklin, Will Smith, those guys, they're obviously very high skilled, and you give them their opportunities, they're probably going to cash in. So the less you give them, the more frustrated they're going to get, the more opportunities we're going to get, the more they're going to turn pucks over and feed our transition. And that's where the game is going to be in our hands.
I understand you said you don't want to cheat for offense, obviously, but you've shown you can score at this level, right? Nugent Hopkins obviously could score. Same with Roslovic. Is there just going to be maybe more offensive opportunities because the guys you're playing are more offensive? And, Nugent's obviously pretty reliable defensively. So is it more that you don't cheat more, but you just expect to maybe be able to create?
Yeah, absolutely. And part of that is, like you said, offensive opportunity. How many more offensive zone faceoffs do you get? Where do you start with the puck? Are you starting on a back check? Are you starting on a defensive zone faceoff and having to move the puck up the ice? So there's a lot that goes into how your game blends into the offense. And so now, yes, with Leon out, there's probably more opportunity for myself, probably Sammy and Rico as well, to get more offensive zone starts. And that that obviously lends to you getting more offensive opportunities, more scoring chances, more zone time. So there's a fine line between cheating for offense and just recognizing the plays before they happen. And with a guy like Nuge, you said he's super reliable. You know that you can take one extra step because you expect him to make the play that is there. So you don't have to sit back maybe as much as you would with a younger player that's not as experienced, and you might be trying to protect him or your other line mates to make sure that everybody's taken care of on the ice. You know, Nuge can take care of me as at the same time.
For you personally, it's been a while since you've been in the playoffs. And last time you went all the way to the Cup finals. Yeah, by expectations, this team, the last 5 games, outside of the Dallas game, starting to see kind of a better structure defensively. I know it's only been, over a week for you, but what have you noticed in the last few games that leads you to believe that you're starting to ramp up at the right?
It's the guys buying in. It's all the little things, block shots, sticking up for teammates, just making the play while getting hit. Embo makes a great play. He gets hurt on the play, but it's being able to do those little things creates a culture and an expectation amongst everybody that that's what we have to do in order to be successful. And there's no deviating. You don't need to come in here and bitch and moan and yell at each other about it, because everybody knows there's a standard. And if you don't meet the standard, you're not at that level, and it's disappointing in yourself. It's not one guy is calling another guy out. You know it in your heart because you're seeing Connor do it. You're seeing Leon do it. You're seeing the top guys do it. And that sets a standard that everybody has to follow.
You talked about the back pressure, backtracking. That's been, to me, the most noticeable difference here the last few games, is just how many guys are getting back in the right spots and really limiting the rough chances from the opposition.
Yeah. A commitment off the puck is invaluable. You can't really measure it. I don't know if there's an advanced statistic that can tell you, wow, this guy's really good at tracking. But as a group, you see that stuff. You give props to the guy that gets above and makes sure that when there's a half chance against, he's making it as hard as possible for the other team to make it a really good scoring chance.
Always like speaking to Dickinson about the defensive side of the game, because he has a really good job of describing it. And you know what? Every young player should listen to that. Hey, guys, Dickinson sounds like a coach, very well spoken. Well, yeah, smart guy, he's been around. Right? And he is like, that's why I was I was a little surprised by people around the league when I was looking at them, discussing, trade deadline acquisitions that would help the teams. And I get it. Everyone's like, the Oilers are terrible right now. They need a goalie. And it's like, okay, well, there was no goalies to get. So let's be realistic. Did they fill 2 holes? They did. They filled 2 pretty glaring holes from a guy who I think is highly motivated to want to help a team win, right? Like he came into the league with the Stars, right? He was a first-round draft pick of the Stars in 2013. And his first full season in the NHL, where he didn't play any time in the AHL, was 2018-19. He had played 27 games in 17-18, kind of got a taste, and then came back and was a full-timer the next year. And they went and they won a round of the playoffs, lost in the second round. Then his second full season, that's when they went to the Cup final and lost to Tampa Bay in 2020. Now, that was here in Edmonton in the bubble, so it wasn't with crowds, but he'd been with the crowd. And then, you know what? They played the next year in Dallas, and he got injured, didn't play at the end of the season. And then he went to Vancouver, and then they traded him away. Like, they paid teams to get rid of him. It was unreal. Like, you look back and just talk about overreacting to one bad year, and gave Chicago a second rounder just to get rid of him. Wild. And now he's back on a competitive team, and he's motivated. He wants a new contract. So I look at Dickinson, and I think, him and Nugent Hopkins, I like something there. Very like something there for sure. On behalf of Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, I'm Jason Gregor. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show. Have yourselves a lovely Monday evening. Let's get to the Con Man and Sports 1440 update, brought to you by Ewell, your partner in power since 1976. For all your electrical gear, think Ewell, EWEL.ca. Good night.